Get 'em, Jimmy, where low shack at? The bottle's getting empty up the Kraken. We stacking chips, all of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated pub sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced. Leave the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call a truce. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon 'cause we be pubbing.
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Wednesday, January 25th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. Another week begins here, and starting next week, I'll be back with Peter Loshak on Tuesdays. It was a tough night here. My son had an allergic reaction to penicillin, so I had a lot of time to prep at the hospital till 5:30 in the morning, but there's some exhaustion here. So the prep has been done. That's the important part. Might need Jose to come in and give me a boost every once in a while. Shout out to all the cappers in the chat. Dan Kelly, ready to get to work, has a PGA parlay. John Rahm, top 10, and Xander Schauffele, top 20, pays plus 135, goes off at noon Eastern in 56 minutes for Dan Kelly. Fat Wally says, getting coffee, getting ready to listen. If you're here, press the like button or better yet, become a Pub Sports member. Much love and respect. Fat Wally, we get to see you again, baby. Palooza 2 on the horizon. Ooh-wee. We're going to have live shows popping off for the HTown 101. We're going to have a poker tournament, a par 3 golf tournament, UFC San Antonio on the Saturday night. A lot of excitement in store for us. Palooza 2, baby. Palooza 2. And get to hang out with Fat Wally. A Real Deal Prime in the house. There's J-Dub, Mike M, Lucas Ryan, Serious Business, Nasty Nate, Christopher Comentini, Rocco Rogers, Yvonne Polo says, had a great day. Let's have a good day today. There's Jay Peasy, Lucci Mello in the house. Says, we need a Toronto Captors meetup in Niagara. Says, vodka shots on me. Well, I find myself interested right away, Lucci. That sounds pretty good. Luch, my man. Big card ahead of us. There's Marquise Willis ready to get to work. RVD 420. Richard. Dan Kelly says, will there be an over 68-year-old division in the Palooza golf tournament this year? It's a par 3, Dan. It's set up. It's set up for the over 68s. We set this whole up so that the senior division could win outright. Isaiah Scurry, Slatsy. Yeah, I don't want to talk about the Canucks. Tough spot for Tocchet, man. I mean, he's a tough dude. This is a tough spot for him to win over these fans that know nothing but pain, anguish.
And major surgery was needed to fix the Canucks.
The fucking Canucks. Man, that's how irrelevant we are. That sports reporters don't even know how to pronounce our fucking name. The Canucks. God, that pisses me off. The fucking Canucks. Christopher Comentini says, what are the odds Loshak makes it to San Antonio? Plus 500 for yes? I would say less than that. When he says, because when he was joking around last one about being on, I heard that his sentiment was pretty thoughtful and legitimate. I think I would say like plus 150. And I imagine that number will go down when we press him. So I think he's going to be there. I've partied with him in Vegas before. He is a lot of fun, and I hope he's going to be there. I think he will be there. I believe he will be there. There's the Nuke Worker in the house. Clint Starr, the Die Hard MMA podcast. There's Coin, Slatsy, Alex Hills, Rem Most. Canucks, says Lucas Ryan. The Canucks, yeah, coached by Rick Touche. I thought he called it Touche. Touche? Jesus.
We talking Canucks, dude?
Yeah, we're talking Canucks, man.
Canucks, dude. I like the Canucks.
You're saying that in Oilers jersey?
Yeah, man. I'm a Canada fan, Jimmy. Unlike you, you want your Canucks to win. I want Canada to win because I'm a true Canadian. Go Oilers and the Canucks. And fuck Johnny Gaudreau, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. I hate the Flames. Usually I would like when players would spurn them, but I don't like Johnny Hockey at all. I hate him. Lucas Ryan says you're so confused. You're a Canadian fan, is that right?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
from Canada.
Okay,
Obviously.
can you do one thing for me? Can you name me every Canadian hockey team in the NHL right now?
The Calgary Flames, the Canucks. We just talked about our lovely Toronto Maple Leafs as well. Don't forget about the Winnipeg Jets, the Ottawa Senators. How many are there?
You're just missing the jersey that you're wearing.
And the Edmonton Oilers. Whoa! There we go, baby. I'm from Canada. The Canucks, baby. Of course I knew about my fucking Jets. The Winnipeg Jets, though. I won't forget when they took out the Thrashers in that beatdown, of franchises. But, shout out to the Canucks.
Oh, Dan said he missed the Habs.
I missed the Canadians. You're right. I did miss the kid. Well, I mean, they're barely a part of us. You know that. I don't root for them and for obvious reasons.
No, they've had enough. They've won enough Stanley Cups for those ass clowns here.
La plus grande franchise dans la histoire du hockey.
Look at that. Lucas Ryan says, Palooza, here I come. Right there. Palooza. Lucas Ryan, get to party with Lucas. That'd be so much fun.
Yeah, he said as soon as Pete said, I'm going, he's going. So shout out to Lucas Ryan. It's going to be a whole lot of fun.
JPZ says, if I make it out to Palooza, will he get a steak? Will he get a steak, Jose?
Yes. Here's the thing. I already know this was coming. Unfortunately, I've called it Steak-mageddon for myself, unfortunately. But the best part about it is that I'm obviously going to be flush with cash, especially 2 days hopping off a plane off of Miami, a notoriously cheap place. So I cannot wait for a bunch of people to come and claim their steaks. And I'd be like, well, guys, here we are, broke. But it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait.
I love it. Swiss Horton says that he's learning to speak French. So he can only speak French to the Canadians at Palooza. That's your
Francais.
You fight the good fight.
Richard, I heard Gokster, by the way, yesterday. He had some Swiss as a rotisserie chicken. So apparently some soup as well. How do you feel about Swiss?
I like Swiss Horton. I hate Swiss Chalet. Richard says, any chance for the Canucks making the playoffs if they go on a deep, deep run? There is a 0% chance of that happening. Not even 0.1. Fucking flat 0%.
Hey, Bedard, though. Are we in the sweepstakes?
Well, that's what we're hoping for. Maybe we could get down there, but there's no chance. You need defense and goaltending wins playoff series. We have zilch and nil. Let's get to work in NHL, though, my man, because we got a huge show for you today. LJ from HTown making his return. He's coming off a monster show with us. This will be his fourth show. In 3 shows, he's made 45 official picks. Jose, who does that remind you of?
Sounds like high volume Bobano and maybe a little bit of myself too.
And he's plus 2.24 units in those 45 picks. Clint says the Yotes are getting Bedard. I may stop watching the NHL if that happens. I may just... You know what? I got to do something. Maybe what I'll do is I'll come down to Phoenix and I'll arson Mullet Arena. How about I do that? I'll burn that motherfucker down. How about I do that?
Fuck it. Just like, you know what? No one can have him. How about Jimmy, on the opposite scale of that, what would you do if Vancouver won the Bedard sweepstakes?
I would probably move back to Vancouver and take my family with me.
You should be like, fuck it. Guys, we're season tickets. They're bought. We got to go.
I would do that. But that'll be the thing. So if Vancouver gets Bedard, I will move my family back to Vancouver. If the Yotes get Bedard, I will burn that fucking arena down. There we go.
That's a good dichotomy there.
I like it. All right, let's get to work here in NHL. We start at 7 p.m. Eastern. New York Islanders 23, 21, and 5, 10, 12, and 3 on the road at the Ottawa Senators 20, 23, and 3, 12, 11, and 1 at home. Canadian Tire Center in Ottawa, Ontario. This is a pretty fascinating situation here, gambling-wise. You have these New York Islanders 1-6-3 over their past 10, 4.2% power play. Can't score on the power play. 88.9% penalty killing. Still have nice penalty killing, but they're falling off. They're coming off their fifth straight loss, 5-2 at Toronto on Monday night, and they played hard. They played well. They won the first period, but they just not as good as their opposition. Losers of 9 of 10, and now young stud Noah Dobson got hurt during their previous 5-2 loss at home to Carolina. He was unavailable against Toronto. He's listed as day-to-day on the injury report, and it's too bad because they were missing Adam Pelech for a month. They lose Dobson, get Pelech back. They also have Ryan Pulock, so Adam Pelech and Ryan Pulock, and if you could have all three together, maybe you would have a chance. But they don't have a chance. It's surprising that this team finds themselves 5 points out of a playoff spot. I expect them to become sellers at the trade deadline and let go. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. So you have a team that we want to fade moving forward, the New York Islanders. And then you have a team in the Ottawa Senators that had Josh Norris come back for a week, the $63 million man who's so important to their top six, and get hurt once again. It sucks. He will miss the remainder of the season due to re-aggravating the shoulder injury. The Senators are coming off a 5-1 loss at home to Winnipeg on Saturday. And, God, Norris, 8-year, $63.6 million contract, coming off a 35-goal season. This is a crushing blow to the squad. They need Norris to center the second line. Shane Pinto struggled in that role. They've called up 5'11", 163-pound, first pick in the 28th overall in the 2020 draft, Ridley Gregg. Ridley Gregg from Mr. Gokster's Belleville Senators.
Oh my gosh. Should we call him?
Sure. You could give him a call. Sure. 23 points in 28 games. This is a really tough assignment for Ridley Gregg to fill this second line center role. And
I forgot he's Canadian, so I can't call him.
Oh, you don't have the
Yeah, I forgot about that. Hey, but Jimmy, I am up here for a reason. I will admit.
Sure.
It's Canada. It's Canada Jose Day, and I'm gonna bet on every Canadian hockey team tonight, Jimmy. So that's what we're doing tonight. It's gonna be a great day.
Well,
come on, Canada.
I would use the Oilers probably as a parlay piece because they're minus 400.
Yep. Don't you worry about that. We'll get around that one. But we're betting on all the Canadian hockey teams today.
Okay.
And officially as well, because the Say Hey record. Of course, we're making them all official. Say Hey plays record. We're like 1-3, 0-4, maybe. I can't remember. We haven't started out the best, but it's just sell straight out till we get to baseball season. Then we make our climb. Well, till we get to World Baseball Classic season. But we're making them all official. I'll take my Ottawa Senators to win money line minus 123 or whatever we can get. It's going to be a great day.
Your Senators opening up at minus 116, got up to minus 124. They're now minus 121.
They got murdered last time. Like you said, they got to come out better.
I do not think so. I think that losing Josh Norris is going to hurt them badly. So Senators for Jose at minus 120 available at 5 times. Jose Senators minus 120. Yeah, I don't want anything to do with the Ottawa Senators, and I lean towards the Islanders. Ottawa had a chance to get on this run with Josh Norris back, and now he's gone. Will the Islanders show heart? I expect that they will. We have Slatsy saying that the Isles have won 10 of 11 in their last 11 meetings against Ottawa. I think that the fact that the Islanders are playing so poorly right now is not they're just not a strong hockey team, and they're in a very tough division. The Senators now are going to bring a kid in to be the second line centerman. I think they're in grave danger. You're making me want to move on the Islanders, and I may do that. I'd also like to see what the Senators. Let's just go with the Senators team total here very quick and see what we are dealing with for a team total, because I think they're going to struggle. I think they're going to struggle to score. Look at that. Look at that incredible team total we can get. Okay, I'm going to take the Senators. I may move on the Islanders money line, but I will be betting the Senators team total under 3. Plus 145 on the under 2.5, minus 175 on the 3.5. Thank you, Res Mob, my man. I'm interested in. I really think the Senators took a gut punch, and the Islanders put together a really strong first period. The Islanders are vulnerable without Dobson, but I think they beat the Ottawa Senators here. So I've actually decided I will move on the Islanders money line.
Damn.
Here.
This sounds like you hate Canada, Jimmy.
I don't, but I'd rather live in the States.
Okay.
Plus 110 for the money line for me. Going heads up. And Clint on the Islanders reverse puck line, money line, minus 1.5. All right, that is your Islanders Senators breakdown. We're hoping to get LJ up here in 11 minutes. So let's keep rolling. Next up for us, 7 p.m. Eastern, New York Rangers 26-14-7, 14-5-3 at the Toronto Maple Leafs, 29-11-8, 18-3-4 at home. And I truly thank Dennis Garcia for sharing that the Rangers to make the playoffs was a pick'em about 5 weeks ago or so, and I went big on them, and it's going to cover all of my losses on the Vancouver Canucks and put me in a decent shape for futures profits. So thank you, Dennis Garcia. Diehard MMA podcast also on Anders Lee plus 210 for anytime goal. Sammy Comer says Rangers 7-3 straight up last 10 in Toronto.
Uh-oh.
Shesterkin versus Samsonov here. Shesterkin 21-8-6, 2.44 goals against average, 918 save percentage, 1 shutout. Don't look now, but he has turned it on. He's back to playing like the Vezina Trophy winner that we saw last year. Ilya Samsonov has been excellent, better than I could have ever imagined. Better, and making Dubas look good finally for the first time. 15-4-2, 2.21 goals against average, 920 save percentage, 2 shutouts. Imagine that for $1.6 million. Obviously, he's going to get a huge boost in salary after this impressive performance this year. There's the sweaty butcher in the house. Lucas Ryan says, quick story I once delivered to Miss Kachuk. Got some signed photos from her. Monday morning, I had another order for her, and guess who answered the door? Big Walt!
Walt.
Lucas Ryan says, one of my absolute heroes going. Slater says, our record on same plays is tremendous, Rocco. So, Rocco looking at the over 6.5 here in Rangers Leafs. Rangers coming off their second win in 3 games, 6-2 at home over Florida. Both teams' special teams have been really good. You wonder why are the Rangers stepping up 7-2-1 over their past 10, 25% power play, 81.5% penalty killing. Toronto 6-3-1, 23.5% power play, 84.4% penalty killing. The Rangers are as healthy as they've been all year. Leafs coming off their third win in 4 games, 5-2 at home over the Islanders on Monday. The Leafs are a dangerous team to fade. But at this price, I don't know how you stay off of it. Now, the Leafs have gone from minus 149 to minus 161. God, the Rangers are at plus 145. This total was juiced to the over. It's now juiced to the under. And it even dropped to 5.5. It dropped to 5.5 yesterday. That was sharp action that dropped it to 5.5. And Jose Bouquet is on the Toronto Maple Leafs in this bar.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yep. Take a money line. And my guy, Mike M., gave me another great idea. Of course, we're parlaying all these teams together as well. So we'll make them all official. And thankfully, I just redeposited into my Bet Online account using promo code PubSports. Shout out to us. Shout out to Bet Online. So I've got the funds to make all these bets again. We're back. Hockey. I can't bet on the National Basketball Association because that sport sucks. But let's talk some hockey. But yes, I'm betting the Maple Leafs money line. Obviously, it's juicy. Obviously, since I just said that, we need. Oh yeah. Uh-oh. Huh? Oh yeah. So that's juice, but I'll take it money line, and it'll be in the parlay, and I have the parlay price as well. And I also forgot about our other Canadian team that's going to make tonight very sweaty potentially.
God, I think this is a Rangers or no bet situation here. I've not loved what the Leafs did, and I didn't even love that 5-2 victory they had 2 nights ago. They got completely outplayed in the first period. They're just a better hockey team than the Islanders, and they were at home. Sammy Comer on the Rangers. I think that I move on the Rangers in this spot. I'm not sold on it. I'm going to put a couple question marks beside it, but Lucas Ryan liking the over 6. I think that's sharp money that's taking it down, Lucas. I'd be concerned about it. And Rocco said they were talking about the over in the Oilers game. Okay, thank you for sharing that with us. All right, so Jose has moved yet again. Let's move on to 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Carolina Hurricanes 29-9-8, 15-4-6 on the road at the Dallas Stars 28-13-8, 13-5-4 at home. No Canadian team in this one.
So no Canadian team, no me.
Jose taking a break here. American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. Frederick Anderson, 9-3-0, 2.4 goals against average, 9-10 save percentage, no shutouts. Going up against Jake Ottinger, 21-7-5, 2.22 goals against average, 9.25 save percentage, 4 shutouts. Carolina, 5-3-2 over their past 10, 15.8% power play, 77.8% penalty killing. You know, they've won 4 of their last 5. They had that big losing streak right before it. They also defeated the Islanders 5-2 at Long Island on Saturday night. They lost Max Pacioretty. He's a fucking China doll. Another Achilles tear. It's sad to watch him break consistently. And then they lost Jacob Slavin to a lower body injury against the Islanders. He's a great defenseman. He's listed as day-to-day. He's playing 22 minutes and 26 seconds a game, and he's a +10. He's a great defenseman. So they're going to be big buyers at the deadline, and they're capable of being a good hockey team. The question is, do you want them here as a slight favorite on the road against the Stars? The Dallas opening up at -108, now they're -102. I can understand Cappers being somewhat concerned about backing the Dallas Stars, but Rupi Hintz is back, and let's take a look at their line combinations right now because Jamie Benn is playing better than I've seen him play in years. You got that first line together with Hintz, Pavelski, and Robertson. Dennis Gurionov with Seguin and Marchment. Ben's now on the third line with Wyatt Johnson, Ty Dellandrea. That's a good hockey team, and you're getting them as a slight dog against the Hurricanes. I'm not entirely sure, why that is, and I just think if these guys played 100 times, you'd have to be able to hit. I expect you'd hit 55% or over with Dallas. See, why would there be any trepidation? They got Hintz back. They're healthy. They're coming off a 3-2 overtime loss at home. They've been playing some weak competition, but they've been beating it up. I mean, look, they have 3 shutouts over their last 5 games. And they're coming off a loss to Buffalo. Probably has them in an angry mood. Mike M says Carolina 17-0 in same season rematch and rest advantage. Rodney Barton says this Dallas Stars team frustrates me betting on them. I took a chance with Carolina today. Real Deal Prime says, how does Dallas respond after that Sabre victory? Rocco says this game is tough. Stars should be angry, but Canes are so good. Aho coming off that hat trick in the Islanders game. And same season rematch and rest advantage, says Mike M. 17-0 in that situation. I guess this is a coin flip, and I should stay away from coin flips. I mean, Mike M's statistic makes it sound like it's not a coin flip, and I love that and respect that. Lucas Ryan looking at the shots on goal props, but I guess when it comes down to it, this is a spot where if it is a coin flip, I guess you're getting a no vig situation or a light vig situation on Dallas. Let's just see what I would get on Dallas right now. I would get -105. Dallas is 3 shutouts in their last 5 games. Carolina feeling good about themselves, but lost Pacioretty and Slavin. And the Stars are healthy. Neil Mystic says probably the travel factor for Dallas being underdogs. But Dallas has not traveled. They played the last 2 games at home. This is their 3rd straight home game. 3 shutouts in the last 5. I know I keep repeating this, but a big stat. And this is the beginning of a real legit homestand for them. This is a huge one, right? This is going to be a 8-game homestand. Game 3 of an 8-game homestand. I agree that Nylander should be an all-star. Sky Dragons on New York money line says Carolina or pass. I don't feel like it's Carolina or pass. Not without Slavin and losing Pacioretty and the Hurricanes feeling good about themselves and the Stars playing such good hockey but losing in overtime to the Sabres. Okay, I'm leaning quite heavily towards the Dallas Stars. Let's take a look at what the total was in this one. Opened up at 6, minus 116 to the under, has dropped to 5.5. Rob Garvey in the house, great to see you. Markel, what up? We have 2 games left in NHL before we drop NBA with LJ from H-Town. LJ averaging 15 official picks a show with us. And he had that tough first show, which a lot of people do when they make their first appearance with us on Betting with the Bag. And he's coming off a big 9 in 3 days. So he's rolling in the right direction. Let's move on to another spot with a Canadian hockey team. Rocco Rogers says slight steam on Carolina. Jimmy, bet if you wait, you can get Stars at even money. Slatsy says Dallas 8-2 to the under last 10. 2 great goalies makes me want to bet the under, but not at 5.5. And Richard says Dallas Stars to win the Western Conference. Lucci Mello says Dallas worth a shot. And Sky Dragon says it believes that Carolina is currently the best team in the NHL.
What?
I'm sure some Boston Bruin fans would have something to say about that.
Oh,
okay. Taint play of the day is in. Taint play of the day is in.
Sky Dragon, come on. Come on, Sky Dragon.
No, look, I love that it's so much fun capping with Sky Dragon because he has some very extreme feelings.
Well, he's probably going to say that Linus is a fucking luck box.
Yeah, or a rat.
Yeah, true.
Dennis. Okay, so let's talk about this spot here. Columbus Blue Jackets, 14-30-3, 30-15-2 on the road at the Edmonton Oilers, 27-18-3, 12-11-2 at home. Where Rogers plays in Edmonton, Alberta. Eunice Korpisalo has been much better. He's starting to play better. 7-8-2, 3.30 goals against average, 9.10 save percentage. Stuart Skinner on the other side, 13-10-2, 2.92 goals against average, 9.15 save percentage. Let me know if I'm wrong on any of these goaltender assumptions that we have. Columbus 3-6-1, 19.2% power play, 81.3% penalty killing. Edmonton 7-2-1, 26.5% power play, and 82.4% penalty killing. You wonder why Edmonton has turned it on the way they have. They're coming off 6 straight wins, and you can go right to their special teams. It will always be that case in hockey. When a team is playing well on the power play and well penalty killing, they're going to win a bunch of hockey games. And you see why the Islanders have won 1 of their last 10. Their power plays up 4.2% over those 10 games. Rocco Rogers is on the over 5.5.
And that's how I'm betting it as well, by the way. This is my official play for that game, this game. Can't take the minus 372. I'm not Peter Loshak, so I'm riding with Slatsy and Rocco, little Oilers, and the over 5.5 at minus 120.
So that is the Oilers and the over 5.5.
Yeah, Oilers money line or in that, yeah.
Okay.
And obviously they're in the all Canada parlay. Dennis, I don't know if Dennis is a Canadian or not.
He is.
Shout out to Dennis then. He'll love the all Canada parlay today.
Oilers over 5.5 at minus 120. Sammy Coleman says Edmonton at this price, hilarious. And Remmost is right. Evander Kane is at his bankruptcy trial right now.
Yikes.
At his bankruptcy trial. So there is no Evander Kane. They expect him back for Saturday's home game with Chicago. They have a very easy schedule. Those of you who are hoping for the Calgary Flames to make the playoffs are in big trouble. This next 6 games for the Oilers are this could easily become a double-digit winning streak for them. Markel says, man, baseball is almost here. And Neil Mystic says Edmonton all the way. Any chance I get to fade the Jackets? 6-game winning streak. Columbus played tough matchup last night. A very emotional game. Jackets coming off their 4th loss of 5 games, 4-3 in overtime on Monday night. And Johnny Hockey's first game back in a Calgary uniform. He was booed by the fans that once loved him. So he finished with 2 assists. Korpisalo played really well. The Flames outshot the Jackets 49-25. A very, very impressive beatdown. But, couldn't really get the job done. Their goaltending so questionable, the Flames. And you could say the same thing about the Oilers. You can say the same thing about a lot of hockey teams, which shows the importance of the Samsonov signing 1 year for $1.6 million. I don't see anything to do here. I don't see a move to make here. Edmonton minus 1.5 at minus 150, not a chance. So this is a pass for me. I will cheer on Jose's Oilers and over 5.5. Rocco Rogers on the same thing. I will cheer you guys on. Line history-wise for this one, we've seen the Oilers go from minus 376 to minus 388 at Pinnacle. The total's gone from 6.5 up to 7. 7, really? That's crazy.
Oh my gosh, 7.
But the Columbus Blue Jackets power play is better. If that juice goes down, if I could get the under 7 at minus 120, I would probably do it. So, I'll just make that note there. I can get under 7 minus 120, pull trigger. Okay, there we go. I will be cheering you guys on. Let's move on to the next spot. And Sky Dragon, Calgary to win their division, a plus 800. Look, the division's wide open. So I can understand wanting to make a move. Vegas is falling apart, and they're getting a ton of negativity towards Jack Eichel's play. And Slatsy bet the Oilers to win the division last week at plus 400. I have them from the beginning of the year, so I kind of need to I'm not going to double down at this point until I see them make moves to strengthen up their roster. There's Jimmy Gomez in the house. Had the pleasure of watching Jimmy Gomez last night along with Ick Schnizzle in their live bet stream on Hubang and Sports. I love you guys.
They should call it a sweat stream.
Sorry, say what?
They should call it a sweat stream, a live sweat stream, because you're sweating bets.
That's what they call it, my friend. Yeah, but excellent stuff. Excellent stuff. We also have some excitement for the World Baseball Classic.
That is true. Yeah, again, I booked my tickets and everything. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Rodney Barton apparently meeting us there. I'm going to go to Venezuela versus the Astros minor league system scrimmage. That's going to be a whole lot of fun. It's going to be great. But I'm more excited to, honestly, I'm more excited to talk about this next game.
We will do that. Lee Davis says, will there be a Bruins Lightning live stream? We are in discussions right now about my future live schedule, because we're going to keep me with 2 live shows a week. It's looking like it'll be Sunday night and Monday night right now, but there'll be lots of hockey live streams, lots of opportunities for us. Dan Kelly with another plus money spot at FanDuel or DraftKings. Nick Hardy, top 20 at plus 330. Deacon Mike says, so far this NHL season, there have been 369 games with 6 goals or more, 245 under 6. Wow.
Hi, Deacon.
All right. Mike Kemp says Vancouver's lost 5 first periods in a row. Seattle minus a half at plus 140. And Slatsy says Canucks 6-0 versus Kraken last 6 and the over 5-0-1. Let's talk about this spot. Climate Pledge Arena. The Vancouver Knuckleheads at the Seattle Kraken in Seattle, Washington.
Go Canucks.
Spencer Martin on one side, Philip Grubauer on the other. Vancouver 3-7-0 over the past 10, 15.4% power play, 63% penalty killing. That penalty killing is just absolutely atrocious, but they don't really have the lineup. I mean, I think I could put together a group, but God, they've been atrocious. Seattle 7-1 over the past 10, 16% power play, 80% penalty killing. Let's take a look at the line history situation for these Knuckleheads. They open up at plus 153. That's exactly where they stand right now. Total wise, it's opened up at 6.5, minus 116 to the over. It's now minus 133 to the over. Canucks are on the second half of a back-to-back. They snapped their 3-game losing streak with a 5-2 home win over Chicago in their first game with Rick Tocchet behind the bench. They outshot the Blackhawks 48-14. They spent a ton of energy in that victory. Kraken coming up their 3rd loss in 4 games, falling 2-1 at home to Colorado on Monday night. They're dealing with injuries. Their top 3 left wingers on their depth chart are out. Jaden Schwartz, Andrei Burakovsky, and Yanni Gourde. A couple of them could come back. I couldn't get any information on that from the beat writers. Jonas Donskoy and Justin Schultz are also out. So that's a right winger and a defenseman. That's a lot of injury issues here. There is a lot of talk right now in the press and a lot of guessing, but there's a lot of talk right now that it's very possible that Bo Horvat is the captain of the Seattle Kraken in the future. There's a lot of talk about Horvat moving over to the Seattle Kraken, and the Seattle's putting together a trade for the Canucks right now that they are discussing. And Jose Bouquet, you believe in what you saw last night from the upstart Canucks? You think they can turn it on again 24 hours later?
Jimmy, here's the thing, Jimmy. You've said this before. The people that don't watch the games are unbiased. They're unmitigated. They don't have to worry about things like recent form and stuff like that. I just bet the numbers, obviously, because I'm a hockey diehard, because I'm from Vancouver. The Canucks win this game. Rick Touche is going to take the Vancouver. I need to listen to it again because I've already forgotten.
Major surgery was needed to fix the Canucks.
They're going to fix the Vancouver Canucks, and we're going to get a dub here against the Kraken. We own the Kraken. This is what we do here in Canada. This is our sport. Canucks win. Big underdog. It's going to complete our parlay today. Plus 800 for all 4 Canadian hockey teams. We're taking them one way or another. Oh, Canada, our home and native.
All right. Jose is on the Vancouver Canucks. We can get him a plus 153 at Pinnacle. Jose Canucks plus 153. We will also throw in his parlay here. I've heard it is a plus 800 parlay, but let's pull it up on Pinnacle here. Get it up for that one and just see what it is at Pinnacle. The Jose Bouquet all Canadian parlay. What could possibly go wrong? Leafs at minus 161, Senators at minus 121, Oilers at minus 388, Canucks at plus 153, and that is a plus 841 parlay. Plus 841 parlay for young Jose Bouquet. The sample size now, we're getting close to 10 games for Jose, so that will be we'll start using it for his 2023 plays of the day. And he's hit bombs actually way more often than one would expect. He's capable of hitting bombs. So he's got Ottawa, Toronto, Edmonton, and Vancouver parlay at plus. Vancouver at plus 841. Let's just take a quick review of my action. I'm going to be on the Islanders money line and the Senators team total under 3. I think that they're asking Ridley Gregg to do too much. We know that Shane Pinto can't do it. This is an extremely angry Islander squad that's coached well. Look, I don't know exactly why they're unable to score enough, why their power play is so terrible. You think that Dobson would be a good enough point man, and Barzal should be able to set people up. Anders Lee's big enough in front. And you've got scores on this team, you know? But I just think that I think the Senators fall off now. I think it's say goodnight to the season. Jose's on the Leafs minus 155. I like the Rangers in the spot. The Toronto's a really tricky team to fade, but I do believe that the price point is fine here. Then I'm interested in the Stars, but might stay off. And that is my action in NHL. I'm starting to turn around that huge slump I got into, but look, I'm 57 and 60, 48.7%, down 2.28 units. Oh, by the way, Varlamov likely in for the Islanders. Interesting. That's great. You know what? Sorokin has been a huge problem the last 2 games. You know, allowing 5 to Toronto, not looking good, allowing 5 to the Hurricanes. I would prefer Varlamov in this spot. So JP said I'd be angry too if I lost 9 out of 10 and my only win was a depleted Montreal Canadiens team. I like it. I respect JPZ. JP's got an ear to the streets, man. He knows what's going on here. I think they're an A group, and I think they're better than Ottawa without Josh Norris. With Josh Norris in, I think the Senators could have made a legit run. That's how important the top 6 centerman is. And if you don't have another one to come in, like look what happens if the Bruins lose, you know, Krejci or Bergeron for a little while. They have, you know, Charlie Coyle. They have guys they're not top 6 guys, but they're guys who win faceoffs. They're accountable. They're tough. You know what they're going to give you every time they step out on the ice. You can't say the same thing here. So that is NHL. Let's move on to NBA. And my season has become even more atrocious. I'm at my low watermark for the season, and that is exactly why it is important to have guests delivering the goods. And our next guest has been delivering the goods in NBA. I imagine that he will be showing his face here very shortly. I see him back there. He is. Now you may recognize the backdrop. Both of our guests rolling in the same spot. LJ from HTown has traveled to Dallas. He has traveled to Dallas, and he is sitting right now in the home studio of one Dabra Kadabra. Please welcome to the show, LJ from HTown. LJ, what up?
How are we doing this morning, Jimmy?
We're doing well, LJ. I have been very impressed of your last couple shows. You're a high-volume better. 45 official picks you've given us.
Yes.
Here on Betting with Bag, over 3 shows, Bobano type volume, and your ROI plus 4.98%. Spectacular work.
Thank you, sir. I do this every day, Jimmy. I wake up every morning, cap these games because this is what I want to do, and I love the fact that you give me the opportunity to showcase my skills. So I'm very thankful that you've allowed this for me to do. So let's get to work and make some money.
Well, we are very fortunate that you roll with us, LJ. You make us much, much stronger. Let's get right to work. We got LJ. It's going up on a Wednesday. LJ from HTown in Dallas and ready to rock and roll. Swiss Horton is wondering if LJ is catching any secondhand high from being in Cab's office.
Yes, I am. Very much so. It's real. Believe me.
Okay, let's get to work. We start at 7 p.m. Eastern. The Indiana Pacers 24-25, 8-16 on the road at the Orlando Magic, 18-29, 12-12 at home at Amway Center in Orlando, Florida. Let's start with the line history here. Move over. Here we go. The line history. Now, my record is absolutely atrocious, but I was even worse last year before I went on a giant run.
Mm-hmm.
And so I need to turn it around right now. I didn't even put in action on Friday in NBA. So I've been off now, and I just tried to, watch and not bet it, but talk and write down what I would have done if I had to bet it. And I want to attack this board with confidence and try to turn my season around and have LJ from HTown as my TSN turning point here of my season. Let's get to work right now in line history. Here we have these Magic opening up at -5, now find themselves at -6. From a total perspective, it opened up at 232. It's up to 234. Pacers are 1-4 over their past 5. They just snapped their 7-game losing streak. 1-4 over their past 5, playing the pace of 102.8 possessions a game. Orlando 2-3, playing at the pace at 100.50 possessions a game. Let's go to the cash flow in this one. 66% of the tickets, 78% of the cash is on Orlando. 3,999 tickets. There are 2 teams with full line value. Totals-wise, 47% of the tickets and 85% of the cash are on the over. Pacers are on the second half of back-to-back after snapping their 7-game losing streak. The 116-110 win at home over the Bulls on Tuesday. Came back from a 21-point deficit. Outscored the Bulls 36-23 in the fourth. TJ McConnell, 20 points, 10 assists. And that's their first win since Halliburton went down on January 11th. So they went 0-7 in their first 7 games without Hallie. And Benedict Mathurin coming off the bench and stepping up. He started 3 games, was not looking great. They took him off the bench, and he went for 26. 15 coming in the fourth quarter. Orlando comes in off their second win in 3 games, 113-98 at home over the Celtics on Monday. What a big victory. Held Boston to 43.4% from the field, forced 18 turnovers. Jonathan Isaac came back and gave them a boost, at least an emotional boost, scored 10 points in 10 minutes. Wagner having a big game, 15 points, 7 boards, 6 assists. Banchero rolling right now, but God, you have to think that you could possibly call the win. Could you possibly call the win season defining? I guess not with the injuries Boston's facing. Let's hear what LJ has to say. Take it away for us, LJ. Pacers Magic.
Yeah, I agree with your last statement. It wasn't a season turning win for them. Boston had issues. But Orlando, when you're betting Orlando, you want them as a dog. They're the favorite tonight. So I really didn't go in depth with this game. Pacers came off a good win versus the Bulls last night. So I did cash on that as well.
Talking shit.
Yes, I am. So, but other than that, the Pacers do have a good record versus this division. They're 9-3 versus the Southeast. So they do play well, but we do know the Pacers are horrible in the first quarter. 13-35-1 ATS first quarter, which is dead last in the NBA. And they're allowing 33 points in their last 3 games. So I'm just going to pass on this game. I would lean to the over because the Pacers are 6-3 to the over on the back-to-backs. And Orlando's 3-1 to the over as a home favorite. But I like the Magic as a dog, Jimmy, not so much as a favorite. They have 25 wins as an underdog. So I'd rather just stay off. I got my money invested in these other games. So we can move on from this one.
Yeah, I can understand. I can understand the sentiment. I mean, I don't know what was the reason for the Celtics just doing nothing in the second half of that game. Because if you look at Tatum and Brown, I mean, they each go for 26. It wasn't on them.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to pinpoint exactly why they just weren't there. I mean, are the Magic turning into a team that you can start trusting at home?
I mean, they're getting some players back as well, So once they implement the players back to the rosters, that maybe they will be, but their trend is take them as a dog at home. If it was a dog tonight, definitely would be on the Magic Plus because they cashed last night the other night versus Boston as the dog. So when they're a fave, stay off.
They beat the Pelicans at home on Friday, January 20th by 13. The home game before that, they lose to Memphis by 8. That was the second half of back-to-back. On the first half, they beat Oklahoma City by 11. Mm-hmm. Then before that, they lose to Washington and lose to the Lakers. When are they going to be a team that we can start trusting? Wine Time says he's all over this 234. Sammy Comer saying Magic are a horrific matchup for Boston. Okay, so I'll leave questions on Magic and the over. Let's move on to the next spot on the board. 7:30 p.m. Eastern, Brooklyn Nets 29-17, 16-10 on the road at the Philadelphia 76ers, 30-16, 17-7 at home or at Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Brooklyn 2-3, 101.4 possessions a game. Philadelphia 5-0, 97.3 possessions a game. And of course, the question marks around Embiid playing here. Let's take a look at the line history. We have the Brooklyn Nets opening up at plus 5.5. There's been a 12-cent move towards them. They've kept it at 5.5 at Pinnacle. This total has gone from 228 all the way down to 225.5. And cash-wise, 3,668 tickets in, 56% of the tickets, 64% of the cash on Brooklyn. 37% of the tickets and 86% of the cash on the under. Richard letting us know that Embiid's still sitting questionable. And Maximilian says, is everyone playing the Sixers? Questioning that. Mm-hmm. A coin looking at Orlando first quarter -2. Von Polo says Nets. So Brooklyn comes in off their second straight win Sunday night. A big one, 120-116 over the Warriors in San Francisco. Nick Claxton, our guy LJ started giving us his blocked shots overs. He is now 3 or more blocked shots in 12 straight games. Our guy LJ ahead of the curve. That's a franchise record for Brooklyn. Deron Sharp, Markieff Morris going to be getting run. It's all the issue here is whether or not Embiid is going to play. And then you can have a better idea of how you're going to attack the Sixers. We have Harris and Seth Curry looking very good. Seth Curry obviously stepping up every time he plays his brother. Kyrie Irving, at least 30 points, 5 boards, 5 assists, and 3 straight. So that's where we stand right now. The Sixers coming off sweeping their 5-game road trip in extremely impressive fashion. This is the spot where you want to fade a team like that. They sweep their road trip. They look so good. They travel all the way across the country with Embiid questionable and frickin' Korkmaz out with a shoulder injury. Take it away for us. There's Millsy in the house. Take it away for us, LJ. Floor is yours. Brooklyn, Philly.
Yes, and that was where I was leaning towards, Jimmy, fading the Sixers tonight. The Nets are 2-4 in their last 6 without Durant, but they've won their last 2. So Kyrie, he's been doing his best to hold down the ship. while Durant's out, averaging 38 last 3. So they've been trying to make valiant efforts to win games. So, they're 11-4 in a row versus the East. So they are in a good spot. But without Durant, I am not really into particular betting on the Nets without Durant. They're only averaging 25 points in the last 6 in the first quarter without Durant, because when he was in that lineup, the Nets were a bet on first quarter team, averaging like 31.5, but it's went down to 25. So that's a dramatic drop for me. And I'm not going to put my money on them to see if they can win this first quarter. Now, if Embiid is in the lineup, the 76ers could win the first quarter because they're 10-2 straight up. Their last 12, 8-4 ATS first quarter in the last 12. So I would put my money on them on the first quarter if I knew for sure Embiid was in this lineup. They're averaging 61 points in the first half, their last 12 games. So first quarter, first half, Sixers are probably a bet on. But as far as full game, not going to trust them. Even though they're 5-0 ATS, their last 5 versus at home versus the East. I'm just going to put my money on for sure if Embiid's in the lineup to get on the first quarter. But you just mentioned Nicholas Claxton earlier, right? You can type that in your computer right now because 3+ blocks, minus 126. It's always going to be an auto bet for me, Jimmy, because you just mentioned he has 12 straight games. So what's the reason to get off now? So that's definitely going to be my best bet for him. But I have to see if Embiid is in this lineup in order for me to bet the Sixers in the first quarter today.
The last time you were with us, I believe it was, January 4th? I want to say January 4th.
I'm not
sure. You gave us Claxton 3+ blocks, and that was at plus 175.
Yeah.
That's how far the market has moved on this. So LJ in 3+ blocks, minus 126. I don't know how you could bet on either team in this situation.
Yeah.
You have Brooklyn having a huge win in San Francisco, then traveling across the continent home. So they had their win on Sunday night. So you could even say that without KD, at least for the time they've spent without KD, it's a season-defining performance. You have the Sixers coming off sweeping a road trip. So both of these teams are in spots that you would want to fade.
Exactly.
So yeah, we can move on here. Let's roll. Next up LJ's moved on Claxton 3+ block, 3 or more blocks at minus 126. Next up for us, 8 p.m. Eastern, Washington Wizards 20-26, 8-16 on the road at Houston Rockets 11-36, 7-15 at home. Toyota Center in Houston, Texas. Washington 3-2 over their past 5, playing at a pace of 99.3 possessions a game. Houston 1-4. Playing at a pace of 103.00 possessions a game. Lee Davis says fade both under. You could imagine that's maybe part of the reason why that total has dropped. Also, if Philadelphia is controlling the pace, they're playing at a pace 97.3 possessions a game. So I just feel like I've kind of missed that move. But I think that there's truth to what you're saying, Lee. So let's roll on. We got Jalen giving you a shout out, LJ. And same with Sean Pulliam giving you a shout out. Nice to have LJ rolling with us. Let's rock here. Washington 1-4 over their past 5, playing the pace of 103 possessions a game. That doesn't tell the whole story with Houston. Man, they snapped a 13-game losing streak with that 119-114 win at home over Minnesota on Monday night. I did not expect them to be this bad. Let's take a look at the line history here. We have Washington Wizards opening up -2.5. They're now -3, and it's juiced. From a total perspective, it opened up at 230. It's now up to 232. Cash-wise for this one, we have 2,598 tickets in. 43% of the tickets, 46% of the cash on the Wizards. No real help there. 55% of the tickets and 87% of the cash on the under, and yet the line's going up. Coin says lean Houston over 232.5. Wished I didn't miss that opener at 229.5. Astute Chaos says don't trust my Wiz. They are built to let you down. Richard saying KPJ still out. Washington on the second half of a back-to-back after the third straight win, 127-126 at Dallas last night. I don't know why why anybody would want to back them here after such an impressive performance without Porzingis, who's week to week right now with that sprained left ankle. So they've won 3 straight despite no KP. They trade Hachimura to the Lakers. So, they got to go pretty deep into this bench. And are they going to be able to do that 2 nights in a row? Rockets finally snapped their 13-game losing streak in a 119-114 win at home over Minnesota on Monday night. I know that if you're just studying the stats, they're an impossible team to back with their poor defensive play. But, God, it just feels like this would be the spot to back them. But the market understands that, and that's why you're only getting 3 points. Jalen Green, second straight home game, looking very strong. Career high 42 points on Monday. And Sengun, 21 points, 7 boards, 7 assists. KPJ's missed 6 straight right now. And without Porter, Green's averaging 28.6 points a game. Take it away for us, LJ. Your Rockets at home as slight dogs.
Yeah, that's interesting. Very slight dogs. So I believe they're live tonight, but I'm not going to take them. The history shows that the Rockets could be up by 15 with 5 minutes left going in the fourth quarter, and they'll lose the game. That's just horrific they are when it comes to turning the ball over. They're worse than the league. You can't trust them, and it's understandable because they have young players. They don't have any veterans on this team. The coach is on a string right now, possibly could get fired at any time. So these guys are just coming out here just having fun playing street ball, pretty much what they're doing. And without KPJ in the lineup as well, it's hard to put money on the Rockets to even at least cover. So they are good at home first half, though. A lot of us know that 14-7-1 ATS at home in the first half. But, a lot of times it's up and down. You never know. They could be up and lose. So I just can't trust the fact that they're going to have a good outing tonight, coming off that huge win the other night versus Minnesota, snapping their losing streak. But on the other hand, with Washington, Porzingis is out. So I don't know how they're going to respond. Bradley Beal, he comes in and out of the lineup. Now, the Wizards are good on back-to-backs. They're 5-3, 6-2 ATS on back-to-backs. So they are in a good spot when it comes to that trend. They've won 3 in a row, as you mentioned. Now, the first quarter, Duro always mentions this. The Wizards are a bet on first quarter overs. And now they're on a streak to where they're 11-3 straight up in their last 14 first quarter. So it could be a possible bet that the Wizards come out tonight and jump on the Rockets first quarter and make a statement. They're averaging 34 points in their last 3 first quarter, averaging 64 in their last 3 first half. But I'm going to just save my money because I understand what you just mentioned. The Rockets coming off that win versus Minnesota. The Wizards are not having Porzingis in this lineup. So I don't like betting on teams that don't have their full roster. So I'd rather just stay off the side. But I'm going to a prop. Sagoon, you just mentioned. Over 36.5 PRA, -114. He's had 20-plus points, 3 out of his last 4, 12 rebounds, 6+ assists in 7 straight games. So without Porzingis in that lineup, Sagoon should definitely have a monster game tonight. And we see that the offense is running through him now because KP's out of the lineup. Jalen's more of a shooting guard. He's not a ball handler. So they come down and play like Jokic is doing with Denver. They'll come down and hand him the ball, and he facilitates everyone coming off of screens and things like that. So he should have a good game tonight, considering Porzingis is out of the matchup. But far as a side, I just stayed off, Jimmy.
So my guess of this, and if this is the guess, and I probably should have, again, it was a really tough night with Carter having an allergic reaction. And if I had to put more time into this spot, I would expect Bradley Beal to not play tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And also, Kuzma played 37 minutes last night.
Mm-hmm.
So I probably should have done this now. And I bet you if I wait till the end of the show, it'll be too late. Maybe not. But I think that you move on the Rockets at plus 3 because it's going to be, +1 when Beal's announced out.
Mhm.
Why would they play Beal on the back-to-back after not having him from? You have to be almost certain that he's not.
Yeah, especially against the Rockets.
You have to be certain that Beal's not going to be in the lineup, although there's no mention of that yet.
Rockets
So
bet on live though. Usually when I'm watching them live, bet them live because you never know how the game's going to go with them. So, but trying to pick a side before the game starts is taking a risk. Believe me.
yeah, I mean it's just that I just see it happening now. The reason why you might think it might not happen is because it's gone from 2.5 to 3. But your over points, rebounds, and assists for Sengun is what?
36.5.
Over 36.5, and that was at minus 114.
Yep.
I think that I got to move on the Rockets. So these are moves that I would have made, and I will make when I'm winning. It's just the fact that I'm not winning. When the Warriors were on the second half of the back-to-back and they had none of their players going, after that Celtics game, I would have always been on them first quarter, always, but I just don't have the confidence, so I'm not firing on these certain situations that I used to trust myself in.
Mm-hmm.
Swiss Horton wondering if you are annoyed at the way Sengun trots up and down the court. Would you call it a trot?
No, I'm not annoyed by that. I like his performance that's the only thing I'm concerned about. He can dally up and down on his tippy toes, all I'm concerned, but long as he's performing, it's good enough for me.
That's how I'm going to come up to you at Palooza. I'm going to dally up on my tippy toes. Give you a fucking. All right, let's move on. Skydragon says, "Are you waiting for a lock?" Okay, all right. Okay, so let's move on, Skydragon. Okay, 8 p.m. Eastern. Denver Nuggets at Milwaukee Bucks. I expect to move on the Rockets here. Okay. I got to start firing these shots, man. Nuggets, Bucks, Pfizer Forum in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. This is a big one.
Yeah.
These are two excellent basketball teams going up against each other here. But unfortunately, with the Nuggets as 8-point dogs, you know that there's going to be many missing pieces in that Nuggets lineup. The total going from 232 down to 231. Denver 4-1 over their past 5, playing at the pace at 96.20 possessions a game. Milwaukee 3-2, 99.90 possessions a game. Lee Davis says Nuggets is my biggest edge of the day pending lineups. Well, the line is telling us that there's got to be more than Michael Porter and Bones Highland out.
I wouldn't be surprised if Jokic sits.
Well, it has to be. Right?
I would not be surprised.
There's no way they would put this line at 8 with Jokic in the lineup. Chris Dahoud got Sengun 35.5. Nice this morning. So let's take a look at the total's gone from 232 to 231. I already mentioned that. So let's go to the cash flow here. They've given slight line value to the Bucks. 60% of the tickets, 82% of the cash on them. 50-50 on the total. This is the only game where we don't have a cash number on that total. Markel says, should I grab 8 now with the Nugs? Well, let's talk about it and then make a decision. Denver on the second half of a back-to-back after winning their 10th over their past 11 games, 99-98 win at New Orleans last night. Jokic returned last night. There's no way he plays. I mean, this is a similar situation to why Bradley Beal's not going to play. And I'm not certain. Here the market is set up for Jokic not playing. Mm-hmm. But at +3, I guess the market is set up for Beal not playing, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I guess at 3. So Jokic goes for 25, 11, and 10, 4 straight triple-double. No MPJ. He missed second game in a row due to personal reasons. Bones Highland has a finger sprain. Bucks come in off their third win in 4 games, 150-130 Detroit on Monday night. Heard these hockey guys on the radio going, what's wrong with basketball? 150 to 130 just that night. I was like, oh fuck, I turned it off. I just don't want to hear these fucking old hockey players talk about but yeah, I mean, look, we prefer, I don't know anybody who loves the style of play that we are seeing. I get it. We all get it with the analytics. 3 points are worth more than 2. Mm-hmm. Steph has changed the game. I get it. He's not the first player to change the game in NBA. but I don't know if it's being changed for the. It's not being changed for the better. So Antetokounmpo, Middleton back in the lineup, and look, they miss Middleton. He changes everything. He played 15 minutes, just 15 minutes, but it's not the numbers he puts. It's just them knowing that they're going to be back and they're going to be full. Mm-hmm. Take it away here. There's Prince of the City in the house. Prince of the City, palooza 2, baby. Take it away for us, LJ. Nuggets, Bucks.
Yeah, well, that's the question. Is Jokic going to sit? Because both of these teams are excellent first quarter teams. Like, I was going to smash the over first quarter as soon as I saw this. But the fact that they're -8, there's no way that Jokic is not playing this game. And I can see why, because this is the first matchup versus these teams. So when they play again in Denver, wouldn't be surprised if Giannis sits that game. This is how these stars are doing now. They don't want to give you, their performances early. They want to wait for a drama in the playoffs, and then you can see us match up. As far as the regular season, they're not really invested in it. So you just got to pick your spots when you can. But as far as the matchup, the Bucks, they're monsters versus the West, Jimmy. They're 12-4, 81 at home versus the West. They're 6-0 versus this Northwest division. So I'm expecting the Bucks to smash tonight, to be honest with you. They're 6-2-1 straight up in their last 9 in the first quarter with Giannis in that lineup. So whatever that number is you could give me that number. First quarter Bucks is what I'm going to be on. They're averaging 40 points in the first quarter in their last 3 games. A lot of that is, was inflated because of what they just did to Detroit. They put up almost 80 points in the first half versus Detroit the last game. But all in all, they averaged right at 30 points in the first quarter with Giannis in that lineup throughout the season. So without Jokic, I believe, I'm going to smash the first quarter and just get out because I can't trust the side. Like I just mentioned all the time, I'm not going to bet on Denver if they don't have their star player. They're 10-3-1 straight up in their last 14 in the first quarter as well, but they're only averaging 27 points in their last 3. So they've been digressing from that. So I'm expecting the Bucks to jump on them early, because that's what the Bucks do. They jump on these teams early, and then in the second half, they let these teams come back, and cover the spread. So the number shows that Jokic is likely out of this lineup. Now, I wouldn't be surprised at the over. I wouldn't be bad if someone took the over as well, because the Bucks are 16-7 to the over as a home favorite, and Denver's 5-1 to the over on a back-to-back. So if you want to take the over, look at that. Wouldn't be mad at that, but I'm just going to stick to the first quarter, get in, get out.
Craig Adams has the Bucks -7.5. DC Capper has him at 8. He's also got the over 231 and a half. There's Cheshire Cat in the house. Big Show Picks also rolling with us. What up, Big Show? Cheshire Cat says Bucks smash this spot, in my opinion. I love the first quarter look on the Bucks was something that Nutflush got me on last year, and I only liked it when they were playing a team they had to make a statement to. Mm-hmm. They always did. Anytime they played a good team, it felt like they would show out in the first quarter. Here, if Jokic is not in, I'd rather have Jokic in on this bet. If he's not in, are they really going to put in the kind of effort that is needed here?
I think so. Because of how how they are versus the West. They dominate the West, and especially at home. So Jokic in or out, I believe Giannis, he's going to come out and want to smash this team. He's averaging 40 last 5 at home. You take out that Charlotte game. I don't know what they were doing in that Charlotte game, but the last 5 out of those 6, he's averaging 40 at home. So I do believe he's going to come out and dominate. And I just want to take the first quarter because that's where they're good at right now, trending with Giannis in that lineup. So I'm going to stick to that first quarter. Did you get that number?
Yeah, but -2.5, -110 first quarter. Okay. Andrew G saying Jokic available. It's 2K says, why not play Jokic the next game is Saturday? It's because it's a hamstring, a left hamstring. You missed 2 games because of left hamstring tightness. Why in the world, when you're 34-14, would you play him in the second half of back-to-back? You wouldn't.
Yeah,
you wouldn't.
Especially on the road versus the East. Like, why?
Unless you're fucking Staley.
Brandon fucking right? Staley.
Rob Freeze going Magic first quarter. Says Pacers are 2-10 this month. First quarter. Magic start out fast at home. Get in, get out. Says Rob Freeze.
I like that strategy.
Yeah, Rob Freeze is very good capper. I'm going to copy and paste that above the Magic spot because I kind of want to get involved with the Magic. I kind of want to get. I am still concerned about how good they looked against the Celtics, but a lot of people talking about that is just a matchup situation for the Celtics. All right, let's move on. LJ on the Bucks first quarter -2.5. And Nutflush Allen says the full game is where I'd ask myself that question, not first quarter. No, I feel you. You've been succeeding with it. The important thing is, we all cap together and we watch what other cappers are doing and what's making them succeed. I remember the first time I really saw somebody focus on just one trend and hammer it, and that was Toite Latte about 3 years back with Cincinnati Red team totals when they had that perfect mix of right-handed bats and left-handed bats, and they were playing good baseball. And, Nutflush has been doing, look, we just saw LJ do that with the Nick Claxton blocks 3 and over, and the market has now corrected itself. Nutflush has been doing it against any team playing the Spurs or any team playing the Rockets and hammering the team totals of those teams. And it's just cashing. And he's been doing it with Milwaukee first quarter. And it's important to recognize talent. What is the talented cappers? What are they doing to succeed? And it's important just to say it out loud. Let's move on. 8 p.m. Eastern, Minnesota Timberwolves 24-25, 8-15 on the road at New Orleans Pelicans 26-22, 17-7 at home. Smoothie King Center, New Orleans, Louisiana. There's Daby Cab in the house. Minnesota 2-3 over the past 5, playing at a pace at 102.00 possessions a game. The Pelicans 0-5, playing at a pace of 96.50 possessions a game. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. Move over here. We have the Pelicans opening up as 1.5-point favorites and now 2.5-point favorites. The total opened up at 230.5 and has dropped a half point to 230. Take a look at the cash flow here. We have slight line value for the Minnesota Timberwolves, 2,267 tickets in. 59% of the tickets, 61% of the cash on the Pelicans. Then 46% of the tickets, 27% of cash on the under. So big bets coming in on the over, but the market dropping a half point. And if the Pelicans do control pace, then you can expect the under to get cashed out. Timberwolves had their modest 2-game winning streak snapped, a 119-114 loss at the Rockets on Monday night. They just can't be trusted in any situation at all. And Edwards scored 31. Russell scored 30. Oh, guess who's back for the loss? Big surprise, Rudy Gobert. What a fucking schmuck. This will go down as the worst trade in NBA history. It's possible. Possible to actually be the single worst trade in the history of the sport.
Wow.
The Pelicans are on the second half of a back-to-back after losing their 5th straight game last night, 99-98 at home to the Nuggets. McCollum went for 20. They got 6 Pelicans scoring in double figures, but it seems like the weight of carrying this team with the injuries right now is becoming a little too much for CJ McCollum. Take it away for us here, LJ. Wolves, Pelicans.
I don't have too much on this game, Jimmy. Too many injury concerns for me. Pelicans, they're missing 3 of their players that, contribute to this team, and the Minnesota, like you just mentioned, I'm really not invested in betting on them. They just lost to the Rockets and they're both on losing streaks. So my philosophy is always, I really don't cap a game if both these teams on a losing streak, if the game isn't an important nature, and I just feel, these 2 teams are completely going, downward, until the Pelicans get their players back. You can't really bet on them. They trend to the under mostly, but I'm not going to, put any money on that for them as well. In Minnesota, I'm not invested in them as well either, so we can pretty much pass this game, sir.
You'd think, Minnesota losing to the second worst team in the league would have them ready to go here in this spot. They also have the huge advantage of a day's rest when the Pelicans had to go, back to back here against a tough Nuggets squad. And the Pelicans really played heavy D in that fourth quarter. They held the Nuggets to 16 points.
Mm-hmm.
But looking at this squad, you have to think that that Minnesota matches up well here. And they're angry. It's just anytime I back this basketball team, it blows up in my face.
Yeah. So you should trust that instinct. Don't let it blow up. Anthony Edwards is a good, but you don't take props. So you strictly do teams. So I wouldn't trust Minnesota in this line. And New Orleans is a good home team as well, so I wouldn't trust Minnesota to go on the road against the Pelicans, even without their players, and win a meaningful game. I just can't trust that. So I would stay off, to be honest.
Yeah, Johnny Gunn's liking the under. I like it too. It's just I can't trust Minnesota with with
Yeah.
you can trust the Pelicans to man up, but
That's what I
not
just mentioned,
Minnesota. And Lee Davis says Wolves win when they shouldn't and lose when they shouldn't. Yeah. Right now we're sitting with Minnesota at plus 2.5. I guess if I could take the Rockets money line and Minnesota money line, that's probably what I do in Vegas. If I wanted just to relax and make 2 big bets on money lines and sit back and get drunk.
Right.
But God, this is like my whole life on the fucking line every night here, and I just lost one of my lights. See, that's how dangerous it is. The need to survive and succeed. Fucking light burns out. For fuck's sakes. Okay, I'm interested in Minnesota, but I can understand the trepidation that anyone would feel trying to back them. All right, let's move on. Regis says Ant-Man props. I need to keep things clean. Everybody does what you find how you succeed in capping, and you keep going back to the well.
Mm-hmm.
And
I agree.
That's why your tracking your action is so paramount, and it just works for me just to stay off of player props because it's like, I don't know. Like I quit smoking cigarettes, I don't know, like 10 years ago. I haven't had one puff since then. If I have one fucking puff, I'm gonna start smoking cigarettes again. If I take one player prop, I'm gonna start betting player props again because they're fun. It's fun just watching one dude. I get it. I gotta stay away from it. All right, let's move on. 8 p.m. Eastern. Atlanta Hawks 24-24, 11-14 on the road. Oklahoma City Thunder 23-24, 14-9 at home. We're at the Paycom Center in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Atlanta 3-2, playing at a pace of 98.70.
Then just go with Clarkson over 2.5. I got you, bro.
Okay, all right. Oklahoma City 4-1, 98.80 possessions a game. Res Mob says Briz almost hit that Dwight Powell last night. I was with Brizzy when he hit a 10-1 Dwight Powell double prop, and I think Powell had, it was a double prop, and Powell had 10 points, 9 rebounds at the end of the first half, and that was at the Golden Nugget in Lake Charles. So I've seen our guy.
Yeah, he was one rebound away from last night. He was.
Oh God, that's got to be frustrating. But he did get the rebound early. You've never seen a group of guys celebrate a rebound with 3 minutes into the third quarter like we did. Because it was $100 bet for Brizzy. He paid out $1,000.
Wow, that was awesome.
Oh yeah, it was dope. It was dope. All right. So both teams playing at a slower pace right now. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. Hawks. Thunder. We have the Hawks opening up at +1. They're now -2. So we've seen dog to favorite. Total wise open up at 236.5, and it's up to 238. I mean, that's just nuts to me. And I say this often in the Hawks games. These two teams are playing in a pace under 99 possessions a game, and we're at 238. Crazy. The Atlanta Hawks have been given full line value from Sports Insights. 35% of the tickets on Atlanta and 72% of the cash. 5,783 tickets in. 28% of the tickets and 77% cash is on the under. Mm-hmm. And it's gone up 2 points. So I can't do that. But yeah. I see what other people are seeing. It's just how efficient do these two teams have to be? Hawks coming off their second straight loss, 111-100 at the Bulls on Monday night. Atlanta, 34 turnovers in their last 2 games. DeAndre Hunter out with acute asthma symptoms. Okongwu missed the game with left hamstring tightness. Thunder coming off their 5th win in 6 games, 101-99 at Denver on Sunday night. Take it away for us here, LJ. Hawks, Thunder.
Yeah, Thunder's been playing well, and they're in a good spot tonight versus the Hawks. Very much so. The Hawks, they're 2-6 as a road favorite, so There's no way you can back the Hawks as a road favorite because they don't have a winning record when it comes to that. Now, mind you, Oklahoma City, they're 6-4 at home versus the East, 3-0 versus the East at home in the first half straight up. So that's going to be my bet today. I believe that the Hawks are coming into Oklahoma City and they're going to take a L, Jimmy. They're 9-13-1 straight up in their last 23 in the first quarter. So they're one of the worst first half road teams in the NBA. So never trust Atlanta on the road first quarter, first half. They're 8-16-1 in the first half on the road. So that's where they're vulnerable, and I'm going to take advantage of it today. So I'm on first quarter, first half, Oklahoma City. They're 10-3 ATS in the first half in their last 13 games. Oklahoma City is. So that's something that I cannot ignore. So that's one of my first bets I made today. They're 19-8-2 straight up in the last 29 in the second half as well. So if they so happen to be down in the first half, smash on them in the second half. But I do believe Oklahoma City will take care of business tonight versus the Hawks. I don't like betting on the Hawks on the road. You know, history shows they don't perform. They're better at home. They're coming off a loss like you just mentioned. They are averaging 114 in the last 4 in a row. So they are scoring. That's why maybe that total has jumped. But I'm not going to trust it because Oklahoma City is an under team. So I'm just going to stay off that total. This is a little revenge as well because Oklahoma City beat the Hawks on December 5th, I believe, in Atlanta. You know, Shea had 35 in that game. So the Hawks could be looking at, you know, some revenge, but I don't believe it's going to happen. Oklahoma City's on a good run right now, and I'm going to trust they continue this run. So I'm going to get on the money train. First quarter, first half, Oklahoma City.
Do you want a plus a half and plus a half on each of those first quarter, first half, or do you want so that'd be around a minus 110, or do you want money line, which we can get you up to about plus 105 on each?
Okay, give me the plus on the first quarter and give me the money line on the first half.
Makes sense there. So we'll get you the plus a half minus 106 at Pinnacle. So Thunder first quarter plus a half at minus 106, and then first half money line here is Thunder first half. We get you a plus 100, plus 102.
Okay, let's do it.
102. And LJ is in business. Robert Franklin says, love OKC today.
Yep.
All right, let's move on. Next up, 10 p.m. Eastern, Memphis Grizzlies, 31-16, 11-3 on the road. Golden State Warriors, 23-24, 17-6 at home. Chase Center in San Francisco, California. Both teams playing at a fast pace, and both teams struggling. Memphis has lost 3 straight. They're 2-3 over the past 5, obviously, or not obviously, but 2-3 over the past 5, 102.6 possessions a game. Warriors 2-3, 102.86 possessions a game. Let's go into the line history here for Memphis Golden State. We have Memphis opening up as 2.5-point dogs. They're now 3.5-point dogs. Totals wise, this opened up at 239 and it's up to 245.5. Are you telling me that the models were off by 5.5 points? That is wild. So we have 5,477 tickets in, 83% of the tickets and 91% of the cash on the Golden State Warriors. Wow. 45% of the tickets and 58% of cash on the under. You know, it's interesting. So we know these teams dislike each other immensely.
Yep. And
that would lead me to be thinking a more intense game with some actual defense being played. Memphis comes in off their third straight loss, 133-100 at Sacramento on Monday night, lose by 33. You have to think they bounce back. But the Warriors coming off their second loss in 3 games, 120-116 at home to the Nets on Sunday. Curry goes for 26, but nobody else helped. Clay and Andrew Wiggins were 6 of 26 from the field and 0 of 10 from 3. So I guess they're saying you're going to get a bounce back performance from both teams. But won't the defensive intensity maybe keep this under the 245? Take it away for us here, LJ, Memphis, Golden State.
I mean, you would think that, but Golden State doesn't play any defense lately. They've been giving up, over 120 some points a game. And Memphis, they've been struggling, as you just mentioned. They lost their last 3, but they are 7-3 in their last 10. So they still are a good team as well, to where they could come on the road and possibly win this game. But going through the numbers, both of these teams, again, excellent first quarter, first half teams when it comes to points. Memphis is top 5 in the first quarter, averaging 30 points. They are 24-7 straight up in their last 31 in the first half, averaging 50 points in their last 3. So Golden State, 9-4 straight up in their last 13 first quarter at home. So they're usually a bet on first quarter team at home. So I believe I was going to lean to trust my money until I looked at the numbers, to where both of these teams are averaging 30-some plus points in the first quarter, their last 3. So I'm going to take the over, Jimmy, first quarter total. I don't have it, so if you can bring it up for me, I appreciate it. But far as winning this game, Golden State is 10-2 at home versus the West. Memphis is 5-11 on the road versus the West. They have a losing record, 11 losses on the road versus the West. So I am thinking that Memphis is probably going to fall short again, Jimmy, and lose their 4th straight game, because Golden State is going to try to come out with some intensity. They're at home. That's where they play better. Like I just mentioned, they're number 1 in the first quarter, points, 31. And I just believe that they're going to bounce back and be more efficient tonight, because not turn the ball over as much, and just come out and play a solid game versus a cocky team that thinks that they have the West already won, considering how John Morant called out and said they're not worried about nobody in the Western Conference. So hopefully Golden State has that in the locker room, posted up on the wall, and get some motivation tonight and make a statement. But as far as me putting my money on it, I'm going to have to see it first. But I'm going to put my money on the first quarter over, considering how well these teams score and jump out in the first quarter.
Over 60.5 minus 108. Some books have moved it to 61. Steven Adams out. How much toughness does that take away from Memphis? Tillman, Brandon Clark. How much does it affect Memphis? And is that a big reason why they've started swooning?
Yeah, but I think that's another reason why that total went up as well, because when Adams is on the floor, they usually slow down, play more of a half court. When Clark is on the court, it's fast break up and down, all the time. So I believe the pace will be more, considering Clark is in the lineup now and Adams is out, because Adams usually slows down the pace.
I'm just going to take a quick. So I've got their pace, each team's pace the last 5 games, but let's just see what that pace was for the Grizzlies. Maybe I shouldn't go into a 1 game. Maybe that would be a mistake if I get too caught up into the 1 game. Res Mob likes the look, says he's tailing that first quarter over. Lee Davis says they got destroyed on the boards versus the Kings the other night. It's not like the Warriors are really going to be able to have the length, in the front court, or at least, we know that they have players on the bench with length, but the guys that play most of the time aren't really guys who are going to hurt you badly on the glass.
Yeah, they're going to look to outscore you, because the Warriors shoot a lot of threes. I think they're on a streak to where they have like 13 plus threes the last 11 games or something like that. That's what they do. They try to outscore the teams because of the lack of defensive that they can, instill. But I think Memphis, they play better at home. Memphis is a bet-on team at home, but on the road, they're struggling, especially versus the West. So I'm just going to trust that the first quarter goes over the total and we see points, because I see points in this game.
Wild spot. It's funny. It reminds me of the Nets Sixers spot where you don't want to back either team. Mm-hmm. Here you probably want to back both teams. The only concern about obviously backing Memphis is that they just don't have the toughness without Adams here. Let's just take a quick look at how bad things were here. Let's just take a quick look at how bad things were in that spot that lost to the Kings, and then I'll move on. I just want to take a closer look at that 1 game here that they just played. And, I guess the idea would be, let me pull this up so we can look at it again. They're been losing bad. And here, it doesn't matter what, oh God, Trey Lyles is just destroying them. So do you think that Ja was being rested just for this game?
I mean, not in particular. I wouldn't think that, but who knows? He probably was. But I don't know how much of a emphasis Memphis wants to get this losing streak over against this team. Maybe they are, but I can't trust. Like you said, Adams is out of the lineup, so I can't back a team by the spread if one of their main players are out of that lineup, because he's important to the lineup when it comes to rebounding, defending the paint, things like that. So I just want to sit back and see points. I believe it possibly will hit that over, but just depends on if Golden State are hitting their threes, because they shoot a lot of threes. That's their game. So we'll see what happens.
Okay, I guess I'm going to stay off here. I guess I'm going to stay off it. Okay. First quarter over 60.5 for LJ. Let's move on. Next up for us, 10 p.m. Eastern, Utah Jazz 25-25, 9-16 on the road at the Portland Trail Blazers, 22-25, 12-10 at home. We're the Moda Center in Portland, Oregon. Utah 3-2 over their past 5, playing at a pace of 97.8 possessions a game. Portland 2-3, playing at a pace at 98.8 possessions a game. Portland opening up -3.5. That's exactly where they stand. There's been no movement there. This total opened up at 238 and it's all the way up to 239.5. Here's another situation that's even more blatant, where the pace is too slow for teams to get up to 240, and yet here is that number. Here, though, the total has gone up again 1.5, and I imagine when we go over to the cash flow, there'll be bets on the under, and no, not here. 62% of tickets, 87% of the cash. That has moved this up. 42% of the tickets and 83% of the cash on the Portland Trail Blazers. Saturated says, who's going to stop Markkanen from his rebounding prop? God, Portland can play so soft at times. That game against the Sixers, they just showed no heart whatsoever. It was a very difficult fucking game to watch here. Jazz coming off their third win in 4 games, 120-102 at home over the Hornets on Monday night. Held the Hornets to 2 of 16 from 3. That's the fewest in the NBA this season. Is that the Jazz playing phenomenal perimeter defense, or is that the Hornets are just god awful? That's the question. And I imagine it's just the Hornets.
The Hornets are just awful.
Yeah. So, here we go with these Blazers. I just don't understand why these bigs can't step up. I really don't. The way Embiid just did whatever he wanted against them. I was like, are you if you're as big as Nurkic, you're gonna just be a little bitch out there? Are you that afraid of Embiid? I know he's tough, but let's talk about the Jazz here a little more. Markkanen 25-11. They went 16 of 40 from 3. He cashed 4 of them. Mike Conley also hit 4. They're trying to move him at the trade deadline. Blazers stopped their 3-game losing streak on Monday night. 147-127 win at home over the Spurs. Lillard goes for 7 threes. You just can't trust the Blazers because they're just too soft. If they're not hitting their shots, they're going to lose the basketball game. Look what they did against the Lakers. They were up 25 at the half and lost 121-112. I don't know how anybody can trust this basketball team. Take it away for us here, LJ, Jazz Blazers.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see how anybody can trust Portland. They're 3-7 in their last 10, like you just mentioned. They gave up that lead versus the Lakers, and they're horrible in the first quarter. They are 3-11 straight up in their last 14 in the first quarter. I don't get how they just come out and not engaged in the game. Teams completely take advantage of them in the first quarter. So that's not a team I want to bet on at any time. And far as the Utah side, I only bet Utah at home when they're dogs. So they're on the road. I'm not going to put any money in this game, Jimmy. We can pass it. I promise you I didn't even take a look at it because I bet on marketing the other night, with his points and the rebounds. That's usually what I'm going to take, long as Olynyk is out of that lineup. Marketing is going to put up those numbers. So other than that, I bet on Utah at home. I'm not a road Utah better, and I'm not a Portland better right now, considering how horrible they're trending right now. So we can pass this game.
What the fuck is wrong with them? And this is a spot, fourth game of a 6-game homestand, where they should now, unfortunately, they look good against the worst team in the league, and that's just another red flag for me backing a team off beating a cupcake.
Yeah.
So I guess I got to stay off of it. But you'd think that Portland would continue moving in the right direction and gain some confidence. This team is 12-10 at home, 22-25 on the year. You see that with this much talent on this Blazers squad?
Yeah, I agree. So a lot going on over there. It's unexplainable. So
fucking hate to be a fucking Blazers fan. But look, we can talk about this shit basketball team next. Toronto Raptors 21-27, 6-15 on the road at the Sacramento Kings, 27-19, 16-10 at home. Golden One Center in Sacramento, California. Toronto 2-3, 97.47 possessions a game. Sacramento 4-1, playing 98.70 possessions a game. Can you imagine that we could have had Durant? I mean, looking back at it now, I was just like Messiah. I was like, no, Scotty Barnes, keep your hands off him. What we didn't realize is maybe Scotty Barnes is more valuable now than he'll ever be in his entire career. And we can get KD and first round draft picks. I was wrong too. And look, KD is becoming a bit of a China doll himself. So who knows?
Yeah.
But, this Raptors team is bad. 2-3 over the past 5. Said the pace. Both teams playing at a slower pace. Let's take a look at the line history here. Andrew G says KD too soft, not worth the squeeze. I don't know, man. They said the same thing about Kawhi. They said he can't play enough, and I tell you what, if KD was on the Raptors, he wouldn't have been playing 40 minutes a night and having to carry the team. Mm-hmm. We would do the exact same thing we did with Kawhi, and he'd play 60 of the 82 games and be ready to go for the playoffs. And I'll just stop talking about it because I was wrong too. I was like, of course we can't trade Scotty Barnes. Now you see him in a Subway commercial and you're like, that's the fucking guy. Raptors open up at +3.5 and -105. Now +3.5 and -106. Total open up at 239. Now at 238. Let's take a look at the cash flow here. The Raptors, of course, though, have been given full line value. For those of you that want them, 7,005 tickets in, 25% of the tickets, 54% of the cash is on the Toronto Raptors. God, that's a lot of trust in the Raptors in this spot here. 53% of the tickets, 60% of cash on the over. And this over is up to, this over is now up to it's dropped a point to 238. That does make sense to me. Dan Kelly says Mobley should have been Rookie of the Year. Yeah, God, nothing pleased me more than seeing Mobley fall to the fucking ground and lose his Rookie of the Year. That made me, you know what? If somebody on the street falls in front of me and like their groceries fall, I feel bad for them. But when Mobley fell and lost the Rookie of the Year, I pointed and fucking laughed at him.
Yeah.
How about that, Dan? Pointed and fucking laughed at him. Raptors snapped their 3-game losing streak with a 125-116 win at home over the Knicks on Sunday night. Van Fleet scored 28. Trent goes for 24. Van Fleet returned after sitting one game because of, sadness. I don't know what, because he stayed up too late crying in his diary. Don't know why the fuck he sat out that game. Oh, God. Anunoby, of course, sitting out day-to-day as well. Trent, 22.3 points, shooting 40.8%. That was the Trent that we thought we had when we made the Storm and Norman trade. God damn, 6-15 on the road this year. Can't be trusted. Kings coming off their 7th win in 8 games on Monday. Trey Lyles, there's a Canadian kid stepping up. 6 of 8 from 3, 24 points. Take it away for us here. LJ, Toronto, Sacramento.
Yep, the Kings, another team that is great versus the East. 7-4 at home versus the East, and they are a great first quarter team, averaging 30 points in the first quarter. They're averaging 38 points in their last 3 in the first quarter, and he just smacked up Memphis for 47 in the first quarter in their last game. So the Kings are playing some good ball, man, and Sabonis is. He's been a monster, Jimmy. 23 straight double-doubles, 6 of those triple-doubles. I mean, if you're not betting on Sabonis right now, I don't know why you're not betting on him, because you're leaving money on the table. I'm telling you right now. As far as this game, the Raptors, they are on a good streak in the first quarter, though, Jimmy. They're 15-7 straight up in their last 22 in the first quarter, averaging 34 in their last 3. So they do come out strong in the first quarter. They just digress in the second half. The Kings did win by 1 point in Toronto, first time they played this year. So Toronto could be in a revenge to where they're looking to get back to the Kings and get a win. Toronto also averages 65 points in the last 3 in the first half. So they tend to come out strong in the first quarter, first half. And the Kings are an over team as well in the first half. You know, they're 10-3 straight up. Last 14 first quarter, 16-9-1 ATS in the first half at home, 18-8 to the over first half at home. So my play, Jimmy, is the over first half. I don't know the number. You can find the number for me. So because both of these teams are averaging right at 30-some points in the first quarter of the last 3 games. So instead of trying to trust the side to see who's going to cover that first quarter, because the Raptors could cover it and the Kings could, you know, because I usually look at these games and you can lose this by a bucket, you know, at the end of the buzzer, somebody could tip it in and you lose the spread. So I'm just going to trust the fact that they're going to score. As far as the full game, I wouldn't be mad at the over, because the over has hit the last 5 games on the road with the Raptors, and the over has hit 6 out of the last 7 when the Kings have played Toronto. So there's trending to the over for the full game, but let's just stick to the first half for me.
See, this is finally a spot where the total is astronomical and the pace is too slow to warrant that over. And, you know, if we're talking about Sacramento's efficiency against Memphis, that's not going to be repeated here. You know, 22 of 40 from 3, and Trey Lyles, you know, hitting 6 of 8. And this is finally a spot where the pace is low, the total is astronomical, and finally there's sharp money on the under, and the under's dropping. So I can understand you on the first half over after watching these teams, especially when, you know, a team like the Knicks, who's playing at a slower pace, can still put up 241 points at home. Mm-hmm. But now the Raptors fly all the way west, and I'm going to take the full game under. Okay. Under full game here. Lee Davis says Anunoby wants out of Toronto. Look, I hope not, but you know, if he did, you know, I get it. I mean, but fuck. I don't know. I don't know what to do with this basketball team. Dizzy Rothstein took the Raptors +4 last night. I mean, the sharp money's on the Raptors, if you can trust them, but the sharp money's on the Raptors. So, LJ, we can both cash this. You're on the first half over 122 minus 110. Mm-hmm. I'm on the under full game. JPZ backing me on this under. Finally. Okay, let's move on. Now I can watch the Raptors and cheer for bricks. That's the only fun I can possibly have. I tell you, I can't watch the Raptors. I can't watch the Canucks. I just I get this inner rage. Okay, let's move on. 10:30 p.m. Eastern. San Antonio Spurs 14-33, 5-16 on the road at the LA Lakers 22-25, 12-11 at home. I get much more rage with the Canucks. At least the Raptors have given the country some joy over the last while, whereas the Canucks have just pulled out our beating heart, slid it, and taken a dump in it. Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles, California. Spurs 1-4, playing at the pace 101.5 possessions a game. Lakers 3-2, playing at the pace at 99.10 possessions a game. This is our final game before we get into college basketball, where we've been running a very nice Sorry, this is not coming through. Let me just see if I can. Okay, here we go. Line history-wise, we have the Lakers opening up as 7-point favorites, 7 at -110. They're now 7 at -115. Total-wise, it's opened up at 243.5, and that's exactly where it stands right now. Even 243.5, the total, like the pace is not fast. I gotta stop. I sound like an old man. When I sound like just no, the pace is too slow for the fucking totals. Somebody get my specs and suck my dick. Okay, 4,076 tickets in. 53% of the tickets, 54% of the cash on the Lakers. 65% of the tickets, 78% of the cash on the over. You get over to the that is the cash flow. Sorry. Fuck, I'm still angry. Spurs coming off their 7th loss in 8 games, 147-127 to Portland on Monday night. They've given up an average of 133 points over their last 7 losses, except for that one strange win over Brooklyn when they played well defensively. Keldon Johnson, 20 points. They shot 52.2% against the Blazers. The Blazers shot 59.8%. How does anybody back the Blazers after they shoot 59.8%? Against the worst team in basketball? Do I need to go back to that spot here for a second? How could anybody trust the fucking Blazers? They shoot 60% from the field. This fair weather basketball team. Now they play now they play Utah. And the sharp money's on Portland. Okay, fuck, I'll just stay off of it. Oh, God. So here we go. Sorry, I apologize. Just filled with rage for some reason. Lakers on the second half of back-to-back after the modest 2-game winning streak snapped in a 133-115 loss at home to the Clippers last night. Hachimura will play tonight is the story that we are getting. Austin Reeves, Lonnie Walker close to returning, as well as fucking the brow. Take it away for us, LJ. Last game on the board. It's been a treat cabbing with you, LJ. I enjoy cabbing with you enormously. Spurs, Lakers, take it away.
Yeah, Spurs, we know that they are an over team if you cap the Spurs, especially on the road. And we do know that the Lakers are a good first half ATS team at home. Even though they lost it last night versus the Clippers, we're going to trust that they're going to cover this first half spread at home. And it's against the Spurs. So everybody picks on the Spurs. They're one of the worst teams in the league, if not the worst, with the Rockets and the Hornets. Those are the 3 teams that you can easily fade on any given night. But you got to pick and choose when you pick the spots to fade. So Spurs are 7-13-1 ATS first quarter on the road. So they're horrible on the road in the first quarter. But the over hits because they're 15-6 first quarter over to the road and 8-3 in their last 11. So we're going to trust that this over is going to go over in the first half, and we're going to trust that the Lakers are going to cover the first half spread. And I wouldn't be mad at the team total over with the Lakers. I wouldn't be mad at the over with the Lakers as well. Like, you could probably pick on them tonight because LeBron is probably going to have 30 to 35 points. You know, he's trying to break that streak. He should be mad from losing last night versus their nemesis, the Clippers. So, yeah, I'm going to be invested in the first half with the Lakers tonight. Other than that, wouldn't be mad, but let's just keep it simple for me. I'm not trying to be all over the board with the Lakers, because they're missing a key piece as well with Anthony Davis. Until he comes back, I'm not going to fully trust the fact that they can make a run, to at least have, be a good team. But let's pick and choose when we make money. So first half at home versus the Lakers is my bet.
Lakers first. Any chance LeBron doesn't play tonight?
No, I think he'll play. He's always questionable every game, but he should play.
We can get you a 3.5 at -115 or a 4 at -105. What would you like?
3.5.
-3.5 at -115. BJ says Davis is supposed to play tonight. I didn't get that. Let's just for everybody's knowledge, that's the most important thing we're supposed to do on the show is at least have everybody with enough information. Yeah, he's returning tonight. After missing 6 weeks, he is back in the lineup. This came out 3 hours ago. I should have caught that. Thank you so much. That's huge. Thank you, BJ. That's huge. So, and Rui Hachimura. So you got AD back, Rui Hachimura back. Where does that take you? Do you feel like they'll have enough or any continuity or comfort, or do you think they'll be, buoyed by the fact that these?
I just think
back?
they're a better team. Even with them coming back, they're playing San Antonio because Vassal's still out in San Antonio. He's one of the main pieces of their squad. So until he comes back, they're not going to have their full, firepower as well. So if LeBron sits tonight, they still could win and cover that spread with AD and Hachimura. But let's just stick to the first half where they're good at, and I trust that they'll at least cover that first half because San Antonio was horrible on the road in the first quarter, first half.
Wow, these guys coming back. I mean, isn't JP says, does that slow the pace for LA?
Probably. And, San Antonio's probably not going to get a lot of points in the paint with AD back, but it just depends on how effective he is. He could come in there and play a quarter, get hurt, and sit out. So who knows? He's unpredictable. So we're not going to trust the fact that he's going to come in and, and dominate the game. Let's just stick to what's working, like you just mentioned. Let's just stick to what's been working. First half, Lakers at home has been working, ATS. So we'll just stick to that.
It's crazy. Usually a team that would allow the Blazers to shoot 59% from the field would get, reamed out from their coach and would come back and play strong defense. But this is a Spurs team that's tanking and Pop's only saying nice things about them, when they need to be slapped in the face. BJ says he read that Brandon Ingram is supposed to return tonight as well. Let's find that information out right now. Brandon Ingram injury update. And he is returning tonight against the Wolves. God, this is so crucial. Thank you for sharing that with us, BJ. Let's go back to the Pelicans spot. I mean, historically, we like to fade the teams that have, a star returning. And now we have two opportunities to do that with the Lakers and the Pelicans. I guess one thing we need to do with the Pelicans is wait. Let's take a look here. What do you think with BI returning with the Pelicans at home? The Pelicans
he's been out a long time. How long has he been out?
2 months.
Yeah, that's a long time. Like I don't know what to expect from him. He still probably need to get in shape. He's probably not even in game shape. So
yeah,
that's why I stayed off that game. It's too unpredictable. I don't like my money being tied up in unpredictable. I like for sure.
You don't like fat fucks.
Yeah, there you go.
Anthony Davis so I got to do more work on this card here. You got Davis returning, and you have BI returning. Thank you, BJ, for getting us that information. All right. There we go. No plus Altus, you can't slow the pace with the Spurs. They just keep running.
I agree.
Okay. For LeBron to break the record versus Milwaukee at LA, he needs to average 26 points per game in the next 6 games, tonight at home and 5 on the road. Matt Paulin says the chat killing it with great info. Absolutely. That's what makes this show special. Yeah. Pimp slap play today. You don't rush. Pimp slap play today. You get slapped yourself, Ryan. So let's just be very calm. Let's let Mike give us a pimp slap play today whenever his pimp hand is ready.
Yes.
All right. Let's review all action here. Great having LJ. Again, LJ 24 and 21 on the show. 53.3% plus 2.24 units. ROI plus 4.98%. Average line minus 102. Let's review NBA. So Rob Free is moving on the Magic first quarter. Says Pacers are 2-10 this month in the first quarter. Magic start out fast at home, get in and get out. I think I wanted to find a way to get in on the Magic. And maybe you nailed it right there for us. So I'm very interested in that, Rob. Claxton, 3 blocks or more at minus 126 for LJ. He's been making this move day in and day out. It's cashed 12 straight for LJ. And the last time he gave this out on January 4th here, betting with the bag, that was at plus 175. So the market has corrected itself now. He's on Alpern Segun over 36.5 points, rebounds, and assists at -114. I'm going to move on the Rockets here. I think Beal doesn't play, and if I want, I can find a middle at some point. LJ's on the Bucks first quarter -2.5. I'm interested in Minnesota and BI coming back, and the problem is you just can't trust the Timberwolves' heart. They lose to the Rockets on Monday, and any other team you could trust for a bounce back, but not these. Just pussy-ass bitches. LJ is on the Thunder first quarter plus a half -106, first half plus 102. LJ's on the first quarter over 60.5 in Memphis, Golden State. Utah, Portland, we stayed off. LJ's on the first half over 122 at -110. I'm going to be on the under in Toronto, Sacramento. Full game under. LJ's on the Lakers first half -3.5, -115. And BJ letting us know we've got Davis back and BI back, and that needed to come into our action here. Street Clothes Davis is what Dan Kelly is calling him. LJ, it is great to see you rolling with our guy, Daby Cab. And thank you for taking the time to cap with us. I can't wait to hang out with both of you guys at Palooza 2, baby. Yes. Great, great fun. So, man, we're going to do it up in all the right ways there. Palooza 2. Moving into college basketball, we've been running nice. LJ, thank you for all of your hard work, my friend. Look who's coming in. Look who's coming in.
Hello. We're here.
All right. What up, man? How are you?
Back for the Houston segment.
Okay. Beautiful. All right. Dabra Cadabra in the house. We've been running real nice in NCAA basketball here on Betting with the Bag. I'm now 20 games over 500 with just 114 bets, 67 and 47, 58.8% plus 15.35 units. ROI plus 13.46%, average line -110. And I've been staying in my lane. And now, Cab, your record here will as we move forward, because I'm going to be doing Tuesdays with you on Loshak in the Bag, I'm going to add your action that you've given out on the Peter Loshak show. So that will be added to your record. Right now, you're 16 and 16, now 1.51 units. But
my dog's barking at him, so if you can hear it, she's about to get thrown outside by him.
No worries. I can't. We can't hear it. We're good to go. Let's get to work. Dabra Cadabra. I've enjoyed us breaking down college basketball immensely. I mean, obviously, when you're winning, it just everything is more enjoyable. Also, we're going to start out this segment with the taint play of the day. It's a game we are not capping. Georgia, Tennessee, under 135.5 at -115. That is the taint play of the day from our Matty Ice. Georgia, Tennessee, under 135.5. Nasty Nate has said that you are high as an Eagles pussy. That's
that's what we do. We get high like bird pussy. I told you that.
Oh, I respect that. I didn't know you got high like bird pussy. Man, that's you can get a bird pussy tattooed on your back.
Well, maybe not that, but when we're at Palooza 2 and we do what we talked about, that little infusion dinner, maybe, because we're gonna get high as bird pussy there, that place that you just showed. So I hope some of you guys show up and do it with us.
Oh, dude, I see you got the wings on the back of your shoulders and just a big Eagles pussy right at maybe the small of your back, just a dripping wet Eagles pussy.
As long as it's like a strong eagle, like
with a dripping pussy.
It can have like a snake hanging out of its mouth,
Sure, yeah, snake in the mouth, sloppy, sopping wet. Okay, let's get to work. 6:30 p.m. Eastern, the number 13th ranked Xavier Musketeers, 16-4, 8-1 in the Big East. At the number 19th ranked UConn Huskies, 16-5, 5-5 in the Big East. We're at Gamble Pavilion for this one. Swiss Horton says this is getting weird. Swiss Horton never talked bird pussy before. Grow up, Swiss. Grow up. It's a man's show. All right, let's get to line history here. Move over here. Here we go. The line history here. Oh, you talk bird pussy, and Big Show jumps in immediately. Of course he does.
He's been there with me.
He's a hunter. I think this guy isn't checking out bird pussy all day. All right, let's go. The Connecticut opening up at -8. They're now -6.5. So we have a 1.5 point move towards the Musketeers. X gonna give it to you. Total opening up at 156. This went all the way down to 151.5 and is now up to 154. Slow Jams Arsenal says too many points. Take the Musketeers. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one. We have Xavier being given a little over 50% line value. In fact, the only team given as much line value as Xavier, well, there's a couple, but the only team that's given more is Samford in the Samford Furman game, which we are not breaking down. 6,954 tickets in. 74% of the tickets, 72% of the cash on Xavier, 77% of the tickets, and 82% of the cash on the over. And what did that over? That total drop, didn't it? Dropped 2 points. So the books are opening up their arms to over cash, and this went all the way down to 151.5. God, that's crazy, crazy, wild movement. Xavier bounced back from their surprise 73-72 loss at DePaul that snapped their 11-game winning streak by defeating Georgetown 95-82 Saturday at home as 17-point favorites. I was on DePaul on this very show in that game, not on the money line, but with the points. But they covered outright. 6'9" senior Zach Fremantle tied his career high with 30 points, 11 boards, 7 assists. Colby Jones had 20. Xavier averaging 83.5 points per game. They've scored 90 or more 6 times this season. They shot 54.9% from the field and 57.1% from three. Do we really think that this team is so tough that they can shoot 57.1% from three in a bounce back situation and then go into Gamble Pavilion and do the same thing? Well, the market is moving in their direction. UConn snapped their 3-game losing streak by smash and grabbing Butler at home on Sunday, 86-56 as 15.5-point favorites. They came in as losers of 5 of 6. They rebounded Butler 48-22. Hawkins went for 20. Sonogo went for 17 and 14. Take it away. Daby Cab, our first game on the board. Xavier, UConn.
And I'm glad you're adding Pete's thing because that makes me sick. I tell you every time. So we're moving it up again today. I don't know how it started so low. But anybody who follows know we're good. Xavier, man, 11-8 ATS. UConn, 13-7 against the spread. So both of them, they've been covering for you. So if you've been on either side, I understand how you could cap this game one way or another. UConn, lately, for me, the only way I bet them is in the first half. And that's worked some. Kind of like North Carolina. I've cashed on North Carolina in the first half. And then these teams just fuck up in the second half of the game. But here's the thing. Xavier is 4-1 on the road. So maybe that's why people aren't so worried about them. You're talking about the travel spot. Xavier travels just fine. 4-1 on the road. They're putting up 84.1 points per game this year, which is good for 8th. They're conceding 75.4, though, which is the concern there, 325th. So they give up a lot of points. Here's the thing. The last 6 out of 7 games, they've scored 80 or more points, 117.7 points per 100 possessions. So Xavier can put up points. They can travel on the road. They've proven that. But they don't play defense. So, I mean, I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to go over a little with UConn. I haven't bet this. I've got a lean on something that I'm going to start tracking numbers in before I start betting it. I want to start, and nut flush, I can't help it. I want to start dabbling in team totals with college basketball. Like, I'm ready for it, I feel like. But before we go public with it on something that matters so much to us to make sure that we give the best of the best, I want to track it for a minute before I do that. Anyways, you got Sonogo. He's hitting 60% of his shots. Like, he's been great. Fun to watch play. UConn's 11-1 at home. So again, there's everything goes right against each other. They're putting up 79.3 points per game. That's 34th in the country. They're only allowing 63.5. But in this losing skid that they had, they gave up 80 in their first meeting here with Xavier. They gave up 80 to Marquette. They gave up 80 to St. John's. So that number, I mean, as good of a defense as they play, they look like they're giving up points. I kind of would maybe be interested in Xavier team total here, but I'm not betting this game. I'm just not. If I took a side, it would be UConn first half, and I'm interested in Xavier team total. So that's. I know that sounds weird, but those are the two things that I would be interested in.
I think I can work within this a little because I'd be interested in the UConn team total under. I mean, that's up to 80. but I don't know if I want to do that. I would like to dare Xavier to shoot like that, at Gamble. They can't. I'm not saying that maybe they can't is too much, but I find it very difficult to believe that Xavier is going to be able to go into UConn, especially after shooting 57.1% and against the Hoyas.
I do like the idea of taking UConn in the first half. Like I said, that's another thing that I do like. If maybe you don't want to overcomplicate it too much, if you're interested in this, if you're interested on the UConn side, you just said UConn under though, didn't you?
Yes, team total under. Is UConn going to go for 80 here? I don't know. Just because the Sharps are clearly on Xavier, which makes me want to find a way to. But they're also, the public is on Xavier too. But the books have taken notice and moved it 1.5. If we look at these road games for Xavier, I mean, before losing to DePaul, they'd been playing well. They beat Villanova 88-80.
They were playing great. They were cruising high.
Beat St. John's 84-79. Beat Georgetown 102-89.
But those are lower teams in the conference.
BJ says Xavier seems like the right side, but I think UConn is in a bit of a desperation mode for wins. They've looked awful over the past few weeks. Huh. Okay. Well, I guess I do nothing, unfortunately. I guess there's no real spot here. I think, okay, I'm going to let it go because clearly if we think that UConn's going to get hot now after that rough trip, which is possible, the Sharps in the market don't. So they're moving the line towards Xavier, and I don't think Xavier's going to shoot anything like they did in their last game, which only leads me to the under. But you're saying that Xavier plays no defense.
None. No. 325th in the country.
Okay. So, and Lee Davis said this is the toughest game of the entire day in his opinion. So let's move on and bring LJ back in action and move on to our
shit. Is he going to come in?
Cougars. Actually, no. Does he want to be in here?
If he does, if he's paying attention, he's welcome to. Obviously,
no worries. If he wants to, it's all good. But let's get to work. 7 p.m. Eastern. The number 3 ranked Houston Cougars, 18-2, 6-1 in the AAC at the UCF Knights, 13-6, 4-3 in the AAC. We're at Edition Financial Arena in Orlando, Florida. Let's go to the line history here for Houston UCF. Shit, sorry, it's taking me a second. Here we go. Houston UCF. So a big move towards Houston on the road here. They open up, well, at Pinnacle, they open up at -9, get up to -10.5, and that was deemed too far. They're back to 10. At Bet Online, they opened up at -8, and they also got to 10.5, but they moved back to 10. That was deemed too far. Totals wise, this opened up at 122 at Bet Online, shot all the way up to 128. At Pinnacle, this opened up at 126, and it shot all the way up to 129. So a lot of people deeming this too low. Cougars come in off a shock 56-55 loss at home to Temple on Sunday as 19-point dogs. We are capping the Temple game as well. I thought that would help if we capped them both. The Cougars shot just 33.9% in the loss. UCF comes in off back-to-back road losses. They lose to Tulane back on January 14th before losing at USF on Saturday, 85-72 as 3.5-point favorites. So both teams are in a bounce-back spot, which does add a level of difficulty here. 4,865 tickets in. The bigger bets have come in on Central Florida. Maybe it was the big bets came in at 10.5 maybe and moved it back to 10.
No, the Sharps think this is too big of a line. I already knew they would too. Before I heard the money, I don't even know if you said it. I already knew that would be the case here.
Well, you nailed it. 38% of the tickets, 60% of the cash on UCF. Then 68% of tickets and 73% of cash on the over, and that line's gone up quickly. Mike M says UCF about to catch. They're not something they're not ready for. He says not their fault. Houston got punked by Temple, beat down. And then J Dub says Houston first half get right spot after the loss. Mike M says UCF beat down. There's Chief in the house. What up, Chief? Jarek White snaps that Houston -8 nice spot. Slow Jams Arsenal says Cougs first half spot off that loss. Get in and get out? ? JP says first half beatdown, I hope. Let's hear what Daby Cab has to say. Cougars Knights.
Look, I think a lot of people said it. I got in early as soon as it came. So, I mean, I got Houston early. I got the first half at 5. These lines aren't available. So I'm going to think of, I would assume they're not anymore. I got the first half at 5 and I got the full game 8.5, 9. So we'll see what I'm going to do. I think you can still get a 9.5. Can you still get a 9.5, or is that not available?
Let's find out. There's 5.5s available on the first half. There is. I mean, you could pay for a 9.5. Let's just. See
I'm not going to do that.
Let's see how much that would cost quickly, just so we have a reference point here. Sorry, let's take one.
You know, worst case scenario, I'm still telling everybody exactly what I personally bet. You know, chase it, and where we can, and it's a learning experience. Sometimes I chase lines, you know, and we all know that hook or that extra point and all, or 2 points, whatever the hell it may be, all of that stuff we know that stuff comes into play more than we like to think.
You can get a 9.5 at -114, and you can get a 5 at -119.
Well, I'll take both of those in.
So you are expecting a big bounce back performance from the Cougars.
Look, this Houston offense, when they go cold, they go ice cold. I mean bad. And I'm going to pull out the notes for the Temple game really quick. Temple, Houston still did what Houston does on defense. Temple only shot 31.1% from the field in their win over Houston. Okay, so Houston was still playing defense. And like I said, I know that this Houston offense goes cold, but they're still a great fucking offense. They're the 14th best offense in college basketball. They have the 5th best rebounding rate. And even though this UCF team is tall, 39th in height, I don't care. I think Houston comes out, and I think Houston wins this game by 10 points or more. I think they're up by 10 points at more at half. There's not too much for me to say other than just that UCF also turns the ball over too much. You can go into that, and Houston's got the number 17 turnover rate. Look, if Houston's going to be getting turnovers out of this UCF team, they're going to turn that into quick fucking offense. They're not going to waste time shooting it from outside. They're going to get a straight down low to Robinson or somebody, and they're going to put points on the board quick. I think this is a good spot for Houston.
Ryan Mueller agreeing. He's taking it to 13.5 at +148. DC Capper on the other side at the +10.5. This one makes me nervous. I can agree with you guys completely that it's a bounce back spot for Houston. I just wish.
Ready? Oh, here he is.
I just wish it wasn't a
Here
similar thing for UCF. Let's hear what our man LJ has to say about this Cougars Knights spot. You think this is a bounce back spot as well?
Yes, I do believe Houston is one of the best first half teams in college basketball. So put your money on Houston first half. I think UCF is like 1-3-1 in their last ATS in the first half. So how are we going to expect them to come in here and cover a team with Houston coming off a loss as well? Those are the type of bets that you take. You
And
take
Houston,
your teams off a loss.
Houston shot terrible, Jimmy. What do we talk about with this? We talk about betting a team. This is not a bad Houston offense. They're the four. I should emphasize things better. I'll work on my delivery. This is a good. They go ice cold, but they're still the 14th best offense in college basketball. Okay, they are still elite. Just because they go ice cold and can't shoot against Temple doesn't mean they're not a good offense. Sasser's been picking it up. His numbers have been rising, which is expected. He's only putting up 16.5 points per game right now. I expected him to be around 20 at this point in the season. I bet he finishes around 18. And I know that's a big movement from now to then. All right, sorry, go ahead, Aldrich.
No, you good. I agree. And I agree with Ryan Mueller. Houston's going to be pissed. Those are my sentiments. I'm out.
You just stick me on the first half for show purposes, Jimmy.
Okay, you're going to take off the full game? Okay.
Yeah. Stick me on the first half for show purposes. Okay. Because he is right about the first half numbers. You don't. Yeah.
I'd be right there with you if Central Florida wasn't feeling the same thing. And coming off back-to-back road losses.
Rude, and I'll stop myself. Fuck Central Florida. That's the competitive. I want this now, but see, now I'm getting overamped. There's no capping to that. Fuck Central Florida comment at all.
No, don't worry. You can. There's nothing rude. We opened up the segment talking Eagle pussy, man.
Okay.
Houston first half -5 at -119. Daby Cab's action. I'm going to stay off of this spot. And Slow Jams Arsenault says Terrace Arsenault, freshman guard off the bench, back-to-back state championships, running the second unit. Respect. Respect to our guy. Slow jams. Arsenal. JPZ says first half UCF middle of the pack, and they're worse at home against good teams.
Did I get a 5 or a 5.5?
The 5 at -119.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna cash that.
Okay. All right. Look at the confidence there. Look at the smile creeping in. All right, let's move on. Next spot for us. We head over to the Big 12. Let's take a look at the line history here. West Virginia Mountaineers. This one's going to be fun because we talk about a team near and dear to our man Daby Cab's heart, and we talk about two teams that have gone combined 1-13 in Big 12 play. West Virginia Mountaineers 11-8, 1-6 in Big 12. Texas Tech Red Raiders 10-9, 0-7 in the Big 12. We're getting a tiny bit of feedback, Daby Cab. Echo on me if I don't know if we can mess with something. Just a tiny bit of it. Maybe Jose can help us in the private chat. It sounds like it's gone now. It's gone now. Beautiful.
Is it back at all right now?
Check. Yeah, it's back now, and it was gone for a second.
Is it gone now?
Check. Yeah, now it's gone. Beautiful. Okay, West Virginia, Texas Tech United Supermarkets Arena in Lubbock. Let's see the line history here for this one. We have West Virginia opening up as 3.5-point dogs. That's exactly where they are right now. There has been a 6-cent move towards them. From a total perspective, this opened up at 142 and has dropped to 140. Cash-wise for this one, let's move up and find this Texas Tech spot. Here we go. They've given Texas Tech slight line value, 3,286 tickets in, 57% of the tickets, 61% of the cash on Texas Tech. The juices move slightly towards West Virginia. Then 46% of tickets and 55% cash on the under. West Virginia comes off its 6 loss in 7 games, 69-61 at home to Texas Saturday, and that was at a pick'em. Texas Tech has opened up conference play with 7 straight losses, most recently 68-58 setback at Kansas State on Saturday as 3-point dogs. They shot 32.4% from the field, 24.1% from 3. I'm fascinated with this matchup, and I can't wait to hear your breakdown. Take it away, Mountaineers, Red Raiders.
All right, I got you. This one here, man, both these teams. So let's just look at some of the numbers. West Virginia, 77 points per game on 46.5% shooting. They've had a very tough schedule. I mean, first off, the Big 12 is as good as it gets basketball wise right now. Everyone knows that. But outside of that, even West Virginia's had a tough schedule. 28th adjusted toughest schedule this season. So they've had a lot of tough competition. They're allowing 69.2 points per game, a little bit more than you'd like to see on 43.9% shooting. But they still are 43 in adjusted defense efficiency. Like I said, tough schedule. Tech on the other side, 75.2 points per game, 47.1% shooting. They're only giving up 66.5 points per game on 41.7% shooting. So the defense has still been there for them. I mean, look, Tech is 2-13 last 15 against a team with a winning record. When I saw that, I try and look at matchups and I try and look at certain things. This isn't the same fucking Texas Tech team that we were getting used to making money on last year. It's just not. And at home, as badly as my gut, this feels like a Razors Gamblers first glance type thing. Like, I feel like I didn't hear the numbers exactly to support it. My gut says, I want to take Tech at home. But like I said, 2-13 last 15 against a team with a winning record, AKA a good team or even a decent team. That's terrible. That's just horrible. And this West Virginia team, while their record might not be off the charts, man, they're playing the best of the best, and they're still a good basketball team.
So are you moving on this?
I have other action tonight. I'm good on this one. I would take West Virginia first half. I know I'm a first. You give me points in the first half with a team that I think is a little bit better. I know it's a tough home court situation, which is why I'd stay away from full game with Tech, but I like West Virginia first half. I'm just not going to do it.
TC Capper says Texas Tech is a terrible team. Lee Davis says TTU will fight till the death. Rob Free says ain't no way Texas Tech can be better. They're a different team without Shannon. And our guy, Lee Davis, he's living right now as we speak. He's in Lubbock.
Hey, Lee, I'm there sometimes, man. Make sure and hit me up on Twitter or whatever so I can roll through and we can burn one. And if you don't burn one, we can crack a cerveza. Either way, it's all good.
And let's get Lee Davis down to Palooza as well.
Exactly. Get down to Palooza.
All right. No move here for us, West Virginia, Texas Tech.
Were you leaning any way on this game coming into this? I'm just curious.
No, but I really wanted to talk about it. I don't feel like there's any help from the market. I don't feel like there's any help.
So both of these defenses are comparable. You know, Tech's numbers might be a little better than West Virginia's numbers, but I gotta emphasize what I keep saying, that they have the 28th toughest adjusted schedule. So they've played good ass teams. And the reason I kind of like West Virginia in the first half, and then we'll let it go, is because look, the total's telling you, low volatility in this game. They don't expect a lot of points. If you don't expect a lot of points, and I'm catching points with the team I think's a little better, I'm gonna shut up before I bet West Virginia, because I don't want to. I'm good with what I got.
All right, well, let's move on, because we talked about Houston losing. Let's talk about two teams who played them both tough. And I wanted to make sure that the market understood how tough South Florida played Houston just, a week and a half or so ago, and Temple just beat them. So we're heading to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. South Florida Bulls 9-11, 2-5 in the AAC. At the Temple Owls 12-9, 6-2 in the AAC. Lee Davis says South Florida spot. That's exactly why I wanted this game to discuss it with everybody. Temple opening up at -6 at -108 at Pinnacle. They're now -6 at +102. So there's been a 10-cent move to USF. Let's see what Bet Online has done, because we know Bet Online would have got this out earlier. They've opened up at +6, and they moved a USF up to +5.5. Interestingly enough, the first move was towards Temple. It went up to 7, and now it's coming back. Totals wise at Bet Online, it's opened up at 137. It's now 140.5. It's gone up 3.5 points. For Pinnacle, they opened up at 139.5. It's up to 142. What a difference. Pinnacle has this total at 142. Bet Online has this total at a juice to the over, but at 140.5. Wow. Let's take a look at the cash flow here for this one. 2,598 tickets in, and all the big bets are coming in on South Florida. 54% of the tickets, 96% of the cash. 83% of the tickets, 87% of cash on the under, but, we've seen this go up, so that is confusing. South Florida coming off of that game against UCF that we spoke of. At home, they won 87-72 and looked good. You go back, I guess, 2 weeks. It was 2 Wednesdays back on the 11th when they went into Houston and lost just 83-77. So we have Temple off back-to-back wins. They beat ECU at home. That's a common opponent for both of these squads. Temple beat ECU at home 73-58. 3 days before that, South Florida went into ECU and beat them by 11. If Temple hadn't have beaten Houston, this line just simply wouldn't be where it's at. And that makes me want to move on South Florida. Now, if Temple really is that good, then I just don't expect Temple to look as good for the first 20 minutes. Why don't we go there? So I'm going to move on South Florida, either first half or full game. I just have to figure out how to do it. Take it away, 4S Cab, South Florida, Temple.
Yeah, I got you. So I like that. Because I think the line should be like 2.5, 3.5 tops. Like this is definitely inflated. And with where they're going with the total, with it rising, if there's going to be points, you gotta think that favors South Florida, because South Florida, I know they're 9-11, but I mean, fuck, all we care about is the spread, right? This team is 12-8 against the spread this year, so we're okay with that. They're putting up 71.8 points per game on 44.2% shooting. They're allowing 70.2 points per game, which is why they're a bad team. They don't have a good defense. They give up 42.1% shooting. I guess they're a little above average there if you look at that. They're 166 in defense efficiency. This Temple team, while they might have beat Houston couldn't score. That's somewhat a testament to Temple's defense, but also Houston, we've seen them do this. I've seen them for 2 years now just go cold at points. Temple only shot 31.1% from the field in that win over Houston. I said that earlier, but they Temple's not hitting their shots. It's not like they were out there just fucking on fire, right? They're putting up 68.6 points per game on 41.8% shots, 31.3% from deep, which, isn't so bad. This team, where they are the best, is on defense, 99th in the country, 67.6 points per game. Here's what kept me off, Jimmy. I like UCF here. I think UCF is the team. I think Temple might be inflated. And it's not just the Houston game that they're inflated from. They're 4-0 ATS right now, last 4. 5-1 against the spread, last 6 coming off a win. So I think maybe your first half look would be where I would feel more comfortable if I was on UCF.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and move on. It's +3 at -115 where I would bet it. USF first half is my first spot on.
And you heard me. I think the spread should be -2.5, -3.5 full game tops. And you're getting +3 first half. I love that bet. Like for my personal numbers, the way you line that up, I think that's a great bet.
I like it. Let's move on it. USF first half. That's my first spot on the board. Let's move on. Next up for us, 7 p.m. Eastern, Wake Forest Demon Deacons, 14-6, 6-3 in the ACC. At the Pittsburgh Panthers, 13-7, also 6-3 in the ACC. We're at Peterson Event Center in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Let's take a look at the line history here for Wake Pitt. That's Dayton, Rhode Island. Wake Pitt. Here we go. This opened up with Wake Forest at +2. That's the offshores that come out first, like BetOnline. Pinnacle opened this up at Wake at +3. They moved Wake to 2.5 a couple different times. So there's been a couple different times where Wake's gone from 3 to 2.5, from 3 to 2.5. Totals wise, this opened up at 149 and has dropped to 148.5. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one. We have here we go. We have Wake Forest has been given a line value, about 20% line value, but 58% of tickets and 82% of the cash is on Pittsburgh. So big bets have come in on Pittsburgh, regardless of implied line value from Sports Insights. And then 43% of tickets and 61% of cash is on the over, and yet this total has dropped a half point at Pinnacle. Let's see where BetOnline opened this total up here. BetOnline opened this up at 149.5, and it's dropped all the way down to 147.5. So here is another game where BetOnline and Pinnacle are just simply not on the same page. Wake Forest had their winning streak snapped in a 76-67 loss at home versus Virginia. Clearly, they're going to be an angry group, but as angry as Pittsburgh, who lose at home to Florida State. So now you have two teams in a similar situation. And where we've been cashing is when we have one team in that situation. And we saw it twice in NBA. We saw it in the Warriors game, where two teams we felt are in a similar situation. Same in the Brooklyn Sixers game. Here, there are two teams in a very similar situation. This is a tricky cap. Take it away for us, Cab. Floor is yours. Demon Deacons Panthers.
Okay. So I'm gonna start with this. I think I'm going to start I might go back to throwing on myself on Houston because you know what? We're locked in on Tuesdays. I keep my volume a little lower because, it's a small sample size kind of sucks. It can be a good thing for like the Saturdays where my best bet is 16-4 right now, or it can be a bad thing where I'm 15-15 right here. But since we're going to be locked in, I'm going to go ahead and actually probably take a full unit on the money line on Wake Forest, which I have – because I know we don't break up units here. It's just one unit. Everything's one unit, right? I personally have a full unit on Wake Forest first half and a half unit on Wake Forest full game, on the money line. So but for the show purposes, I think I'm going to take both. And let me talk about it really quick too, to give my reasoning, obviously. Wake is the 39th scoring offense. They're outstanding. They're 40th in field goal percentage, 28 in 3 points percentage. But their defense is where they lack. 233rd in scoring defense. I know their defense is bad. But Pitt on the other side, their defense, 116th in scoring defense. They give up points. They're 46th in opponent field goal percentage, which is good. But if we've watched these teams, and this is where my cap comes from, anybody who can spread the ball out who can spread Pitt out on the court. That is when Pitt looks like Pitt of old and struggles. Anybody who spreads the ball out, and Wake Forest is going to just do just that. They're going to spread the court in this game. I feel like the way that Wake stretches the court is going to be the reason why Pitt's going to be off balance. And when you look at Pitt on the other side, they're 88th scoring offense, which is great, but I think this is going to kind of somewhat be a track race that Pitt can't keep up with. So I like Wake first half. I'll take the point, and I got a money line full game Wake Forest.
All right. Well, let's line shop for you. First half. We'll start that first half on the spread. So let's get you this. Sorry, just it's got too many things.
And this is one of the ones coming into it. I kind of assumed Sharps and Public would be on Pitt. I figured everybody would be on Pitt right here.
Wake first half plus 1.5 minus 110. That's what gets you started. Plus 1.5 minus 110. And then the full game money line for Wake Forest is, let's move over here. We go. Just take a second. God, I got too many things opened up. Wake Forest. So you're getting, whoa.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear.
Plus 137.
Give it to me.
So first half plus 1.5 minus 110. Full game plus 137 on Wake. All right, you are in business here. You are going up against some of our cappers. His coin currency play today is Pitt -3 at -110. Jake Burns also on Pitt. Slow Jams Arsenal likes the big balls move from Daby Cab. Wake Forest first half plus 1.5. Full game at plus 137. All right, let's move on. Next up for us, we head to College Park, Maryland, to the Xfinity Center. Wisconsin Badgers 12-6, 4-4 in the Big Ten, going up against the Terps 12-7, 3-5 in the Big Ten. Let's get this going here. Let's get into our line history here for this shit. Sorry, it's taking me a second to grab it. Here we go. So Maryland at home at Pinnacle, opening up at -5.5. They're now -5. See what BetOnline did. BetOnline opened this up at 5.5 and got down to 4.5, but they're at 5 as well right now. We'll take a BetOnline total. Opened up at 127, has dropped to 125, and Penny has opened it up at 126 and dropped it down to 124. So Penny dropping it a little lower than BetOnline is for this one. Wisconsin has been given a little over 50% line value for this one, a lot, but 3,795 tickets in, 46% of the tickets, 54% of the cash on Wisconsin, not a ton. 73% of tickets and 97% of cash on the over, and yet this total is dropping. The books are just opening up their arms to
under.
Yeah, wild. Wisconsin couldn't keep their winning ways going. They beat Purdue 63-60 at home, went to Northwestern and lost 66-63. That was on Monday. So they're in they play Northwestern on the road on Monday, and now they travel to Maryland. Maryland played on Sunday at Purdue in a very tough game, losing 58-55. They had beaten Michigan on Thursday night, 64-58 at home. Take it away for us, Daby Cab, Wisconsin, Maryland.
First off, Dana asked if Tyler Wall was back for Wisconsin. He is. I don't have the numbers in front of me, so anytime I say this, I could be wrong. I know he had 10 points. I do know that. I think 5 rebounds, so maybe a little off, but it was his first game back. Yeah, he's back. So look, like you said, they're begging people to bet the over. These teams can't shoot. Neither of them can. Wisconsin can't shoot. They're struggling on the boards. They're last in the conference on the boards, which is terrible. 42.4% shooting, which is 296th in the nation. Maryland also can't shoot. They're just 30.1 from deep. This really is a big game for both of these teams that could be on the bubble if you look at what's been happening. At first, I wanted Maryland. But what I expect is an extremely slow scoring game. And I was seeing plus 5.5 out there for Wisconsin. My leans are Wisconsin here. Maybe even, yeah, probably just full game. Usually I know I'm a first half person, but maybe just full. I lean Wisconsin in the under here. I think Tyler Wall is going to start getting back in his groove, and I just don't think there's going to be a lot of points. So
Does it concern you
when you catch it's low volatility with the points? That's what makes, so.
Does it concern you that Max Klesmit is the Wofford transfer is game time decision doubtful?
Yes and no. I mean, that this is going to be such a slow paced game. Regardless, it's like I said, it's such low volatility with so many points.
By the way, Sky Dragon said McCole Hardman trending toward being back. I mean, we haven't seen him since week 10, and Mahomes is practicing. So Sky Dragon saying Chiefs get more appealing by the minute, and the market is moving towards the Chiefs, slowly but steadily towards the Chiefs. All right, so did you want to make a move here on this spot?
No, I'm going to stay off, and because I'm usually more comfortable when I feel about like how the team's going to come out quick. And Mike M in the chat, he just said he was leaning Maryland first half. Like I said, if I played it, it would be full game with Wisconsin, because I could be convinced into Maryland first half, and I'm not trying to bet on games that I'm that much on the fence on.
I hear you. I don't feel like the market is kind of dictating any move from me. So let's just move on. We got a bunch of games still staring us in the face. Let's move on. Next up for us, we stay in the Big Ten. Northwestern Wildcats 13-10 at Nebraska Cornhuskers 10-10, 3-6 in conference. We're Pinnacle Bank Arena in Lincoln, Nebraska. Nebraska's been very good to me this year. They opened up at +2. They're now at +2.5. Let's see what BetOnline did. So +2, now +2.5 at Penny. BetOnline +1, now +3. So a 2-point move over at BetOnline. Totals wise, BetOnline opened this up at 128. Now it's 130.5. And Pinnacle opened up at 130. It's now 131.5. So we have a move to Northwestern and a move to the over. Move to Northwestern and a move to the over. Let's see if this, if the cash at least is moving us in that direction as well for this spot here. Sorry, let me just find the game here. Taking me a second while I'm looking for it. I should just hit Control F, but it's a lot to ask here. So that is the cash wise. I'll be pulling it up here shortly.
Yeah, you're good. And I'm just sitting here thinking while I'm interested in the cash on this too. That's why I've enjoyed doing this more and more with you, is because the cash is something I'm starting to pay more and more attention to, I've always paid attention to it, but just because I paid attention to it doesn't mean I understood it. I feel like I'm starting to understand it more and more.
Yeah, it's certainly can push you or lead you in the right direction at times. 2,139 tickets in, 82% of the tickets and 97% of the cash is on Northwestern. Market moving quickly towards them. And then you have 75% of tickets and 82% of the cash on the under, and the market seems to be going to the over. Wow. So a small sample size of tickets, but all moving towards the Wildcats. Wildcats got off the schneid there. They lost 2 straight at home to Rutgers and at Michigan, and then they defeat Wisconsin at home 66-63. Again, that was on Monday. Then they head out onto the road and face Nebraska, who hasn't played since Saturday. They didn't follow up that surprise win at home over Ohio State with another victory. On Saturday, they lost at Penn State 76-65. But Nebraska's been, well, you never know when they're going to be tough at home, I guess. When we've backed them, the Sharps have been on them. Here, the Sharps are not on them. They're backing Northwestern. Take it away here, Daby Cab, Wildcats, Cornhuskers.
I think this is one of the ones where I'll simplify it at the end. Let me do numbers first. If you missed the number on Northwestern, I think you just let it go. But if you're interested in them, but that's just my opinion. 68.8 points per game for Northwestern. Last game in that win over Wisconsin, they had 66 on 43.1% shooting, and they shot 37.5% from deep, which is great. Boo Booey was part of the reason of that. He had 20 points. Fun name to say. They're one of the best defenses. They're holding opponents to 60.9 points per game, giving up 63 last game to Wisconsin. Nebraska on the other side, they're only putting up 66.2 points per game, 65 points in their last game. They just struggle to score. Walker has been good for them. He had 20 also. Walker and Bowie are kind of your two-star players on each side. Nebraska's defense has been, all right, 67.3 points per game. And the Wildcats have won 8 out of their last 11. I don't know. Like, I think this is just a spot where you got to go with the team that's a little bit more consistent, and that's the Wildcats. I'm not betting that though.
Yeah, it feels like a Wildcats or no bet.
And I'll say this, Nebraska, their defense at 67.3 points per game, which is good. They've given up 73 or more in 5 of the last 6 games. So there's been holes lately.
Yeah, I'm a little hesitant to trust Northwestern as a road favorite. I can understand DC Cap are leaning that way and the market, pushing us in that direction, but I don't know if I want to move on it. Let's move on to later action, and then we'll do a review of everything and see if there's anything that we want to add. We move to 9 o'clock action. We got 3 games at 9 p.m., 2 in the SEC and 1 in the Big East. So next up for us is Mississippi State Bulldogs at the Alabama Crimson Tide. A couple cappers in the chat have said that they believe that the Crimson Tide are the best basketball team in the nation. Currently ranked number 2, 17-2, 7-0 in the SEC. Mississippi State Bulldogs 12-7, but just 1-6 in the SEC. And we are in Tuscaloosa at Coleman Coliseum for this one. Let's start with the line history here. We have Mississippi State opening up as 12.5-point dogs. They just moved to 11.5 at Pinnacle. They moved 36 minutes ago to 11.5. Let's see what BetOnline has done. BetOnline opened this up at 12.5. They moved it to 12, but this got up to 13. So they've moved it to 12. Totals wise, it's opened up at 138. It's all the way up to 142.5 at BetOnline. Over at Pinnacle, it opened up at 138.5. It's all the way up to 143. So we have a slight move to Mississippi State and a big move to the over. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one. Mississippi State, Alabama. We have here we go. So they've given slight line value to Mississippi State. 4,254 tickets in. 55% of the tickets, 69% of the cash is on Mississippi State to cover this big number. Then 46% of tickets, 98% of cash on the over. So clearly the sharp's on the over, but that spot has sailed away from us. Mississippi State on a 4-game losing streak, the last 2 at home. None of them have been blowouts. If you go back to all 4, then they lose at Georgia. And I know Georgia's not good, but they lose 58-50. They lose at Auburn 69-63. They lose at home to Tennessee, who's playing great basketball right now, 70-59. And then they lose at home to Florida by 2 points, 61-59. Now, that was on Monday. Now they travel to the road to Tuscaloosa to play an Alabama team that is winning and winning by margin. Winning by margin, game in and game out. Double-digit winners nonstop for Alabama. Their last at Mizzou, 85-64 on Saturday. So they're facing a rested Alabama Crimson Tide squad. Take it away for us here at Daby Cab, Bulldogs, Crimson Tide.
Yeah, so like you said it, this Mississippi State team 1-6 in the SEC going against a 7-0 Alabama team. This is one of those things where it's like if you're somebody wanting to take Mississippi State, I don't see how this. I know it's a lot of points for a conference game, but they're only putting up 64.9 points per game. That's fucking horrible. It's 320th in the nation, which is not good. They're shooting 40.4% from the field, which is not good. They're shooting 61.4% from the charity stripe. Terrible. They're shooting 28.5% from 3. Horrible. The only reason they've won games is because their defense is outstanding. They've held opponents to 58.3 points per game, which is 6th in the nation. But when you flip the script and look at Alabama here, 84.1 points per game, 9th in the country, 44.1% shooting from the field, 72% from the free throw line. So they actually make the majority of their free throws. 74.6% from beyond the arc, which is outstanding. Their defense is only allowing 69 points per game, which is still above average at 169th. Miller is their leading scorer, 19.8 points per game. He's been fun to watch. This offense is going to spread Mississippi State out, and Mississippi State doesn't score. I mean, I haven't bet this game, but I would only bet Alabama. There's no way I'd bet at Mississippi State. And yeah, that's what I think about this one.
Yeah, I get it. I don't want a situation here where there's sharp action on Mississippi State. When you look back at Alabama's games, it feels like they just have something to prove. I mean, LSU is 1-7 in the conference, and they destroyed LSU. They didn't hold back.
Whenever Alabama and Houston played, man, I told everybody, I said, this is an absolute fucking treat. Pay attention to this game because these are two of, if not the two best teams in the country going at it. And that's what it was. And so the love for those teams, these two teams, is completely understandable.
Well, I'm going to
slow jams. Just throw it in the chat too. Look at that timing. That's my guy.
Mike M says, I feel like Sharps are just taking the big number and doesn't truly count for the beating Bama can throw on you. I think that's both fair, but it's fair. I don't want to move. I don't feel like there's an angle that I'm comfortable with. Let's move to another team that's near and dear to our Dabra Cadabra's heart. The Texas A&M Aggies, 13-6, 5-1 in the SEC. At the number 15th ranked Auburn Tigers, 16-3, 6-1 in the SEC. Let's go to Auburn, Alabama for this one. We will start with the line history here. We have move over here. And we go. We have Texas A&M opening up at +6. They've dropped to +4.5. That's at Pinnacle. Pinnacle opened this up at 5:06 p.m. yesterday. BetOnline was a few hours earlier than that, 3 hours earlier. They opened up at +5.5, and they moved Texas A&M to +4. Totals-wise, BetOnline went from 136.5 to 137.5, and at Pinnacle, they went from 137.5 to 136.5. So sort of conflicting information. Now that over 136.5 is juiced. They've given Texas A&M line value here, and the Sharps are all over them. 4,662 tickets in, 46% of the tickets, 83% of the cash on the Aggies. We have nothing for the total. Let's take a look at the situation. A&M coming off a loss. Nice-looking winning streak snapped in the 76-67 loss at Kentucky. Auburn just rolling, but the last two teams they beat on the last three teams, look who they I mean, they're beating Mississippi State, LSU, and South Carolina. They're beating the Minnows. So is that going to have them ready for the Aggies? Maybe that's what the Sharps are thinking. Take it away for us, Daby Cab. I want A&M. How should I bet them?
This is tough, man. What's the lowest line in the first half that you can get? What's the best line either side in the first half available right now, if you don't mind me asking?
Let's find out. First half spread here for this game. This is going to be a fun one. 9 p.m. pop-up. Both teams playing so well in conference right now. And I wish I got on this line early. We have 2.5 is the best. They have given, there's one spot at 5 dimes that's given 1.5, but that's +102 for Texas A&M and -122 for Auburn at -1.5. Bet365 has a 2, and the rest of the books are all at 2.5.
Okay, so let's get into some numbers here. And this is, man, and I hate that, it's hard for me because A&M's been cashing some tickets and I've been staying off of them. And Auburn is like the best team that sucks, that people hate because they don't cover spreads for them, but they're still a good team. So they're just a frustrating ass team to cap. And I completely understand that. A&M right now, they're number 45th in adjusted offensive rating. So they've been scoring. This is where they score. They score in the paint, 52.6% from 2. That's number 11 on offensive boards also. So they're good down low, right, in the paint. They're going against the Auburn team that's number 10 in adjusted defense and a number 5 in adjusted field goal percentage, holding opponents to 42.6% shooting. So there's where this whole thing comes down to right there. Also, Auburn is number 2 in 3-point defense. So they're holding a team like teams. I'm not even going to give the numbers right there. A&M is shooting 25.1%. That's what matters right there. Or excuse me, Auburn's holding teams to 25.1% and A&M is shooting 31.5%. That's not good. That's number 291 in the country. This Auburn defense, I think, is going to be able to force A&M out. And if they can force A&M out to the perimeter, A&M can't fucking shoot from the perimeter. Auburn's bad on offense also. 49.4% effective field goal percentage. 331st in 3-point. So they're going to also, this is going to be a battle in the paint. This game is going to be a battle in the paint. Auburn's only shooting 29.9% from 3, which is terrible. They're number 106 in the country in 2-point percentage at 52.9%. So you've got one team shooting or 51.9% in Auburn, and then A&M 52.6. So they're matched down low. Auburn's number 15 in offensive rebounding rate. This game matches up. These two teams are identical, Jimmy. Like, that's what I'm trying to get at. These two teams match up so similarly, and at home, like, I think if I can get a 2 with Auburn, I got to take the first half. But I completely understand to bet on A&M, like, because of the fact that I said they match up similarly. I just think Auburn is just going to be a little too much for this A&M team. That's all.
Because I was thinking that Auburn would be the better bet full game rather than first half, because look who Auburn's fat and happy off beating the worst teams in the conference. All the 3 teams that that Auburn has just beaten have 1 win in the conference. And then you have Texas A&M. Really, say what, my man?
I said, let me pull this up really quick. I want to look deeper into this with you too, because I might stay off of this. I haven't actually put a personal bet on this yet either, so I might just not touch it.
Well, I mean, look who they beat Mississippi State, LSU, and South Carolina. I mean, the 3 worst teams in the conference. And then you have Texas A&M, who just got slapped in the face at Kentucky. That was on Saturday, so they can, regroup and then head out to Auburn.
But who has A&M? Well, hold on. When we're looking at teams, who has A&M beat, though? LSU, okay, Missouri, but I've been telling people Missouri's a little overrated. South Carolina, Florida, and then we look on the Auburn side. If we're going to look at this, yeah, you said it, South Carolina, LSU, so those 2 are the same for them. Mississippi State, who hasn't been able to score. Old Miss, who's terrible, but then Arkansas is a good win. I mean, neither of these teams.
4 straight cupcakes.
True. You are right about that. 4 straight cupcakes. I guess, yeah. Fuck, man.
Well, my decision is made. I'm going to take Texas A&M first half.
Okay.
I'm going to deal with this low. It's been bet down. I'm going to have to deal with a 2, it looks like, but with very low vig. There's JoJo Rich in the house. I just like the situation for A&M quite a bit. And if Auburn feels good about themselves, stomping on the worst 4 teams in the conference, perfect. And then if Auburn really is, with this 28-game winning streak at home, if they're going to take over in the second half, by all means, go get it.
Right. Makes sense.
I hope. So I'm going to move on Texas A&M first half plus 2. Is there anything you want here?
I might take the full game. I am going to stay off the first half, but I'll tag you in the tweet. Anybody who follows me knows that I post everything. So I'll tag you in it if I do.
All right. So we're going to take one last look at everything, but we have 1 game left here for us to break down. Let's get into it. 9 p.m. Eastern, St. John's Red Storm, 13-7, 3-6 in the Big East at Creighton Blue Jays, 11-8, 5-3 in the Big East. We head to Omaha for this one. Let's get everything set up here. We have Creighton opening up as 9-point favorites. That's moved to 10.5. Big favorites. That's at Pinnacle. Let's see what BetOnline has done. They opened up Creighton at 10 and moved them to 10.5. So that's the situation there. Let's take a look at the totals. This opened up at 151. It's now at 152.5. That's at Pinnacle. When it came out 3 hours before Pinnacle, it opened up at 150.5 and it's up to 153. So there is a movement towards Creighton and movement towards the over. Creighton has been given line value, according to Sports Insights, quite a bit. A little over, I'd say 30% line value, 2,674 tickets in. 30% of the tickets and 42% of the cash on Creighton. So St. John's is a public road dog. Total wise, 42% of the tickets on the under and 48% of the cash. So some of the bigger bets are coming in on the under, and this total is rising. Creighton has come off their second straight win at Butler, 73-52. They beat them up badly. St. John's, little wake-up call at home. Now, we capped that fucking beautifully. That was my best bet. It was the idea that St. John's was going to play in Madison Square Garden after beating Connecticut 85-74, and I was like, that's dare St. John's to go into MSG and shoot like that. And that first half under was just the easiest bet of the fucking night.
Hell yeah.
And they can bounce back here, after playing so bad. Like, look, they won at Connecticut 85-74. They played well at Providence, losing 83-80. But the Sharps are clearly on Creighton to take care of business. Take it away for us, Daby Cab. Last game on the board, we head to the Big East for it. St. John's, Creighton.
So this St. John's team, they're third in the Big East in field goal percentage, 45.9%, but 10th out of the 11 teams in field goal defense, allowing 44.4%. They struggle at the free throw line. They struggle on the boards. And that's where this game is, why I think the love for Creighton comes in is, when Creighton lost a few of those games, 3 straight that they lost, they didn't have their 7'1" junior center who was injured. The dude's averaging 14.9 points per game, 7 rebounds, 2.2 blocks. He's shooting 72.9%, which is fucking outrageous. He can shoot it from deep if he has to. So anyways, more on this Creighton team. They're second in the Big East in field goal percentage at 46.2%. Defense, they hold opponents to 37.2%, which is good, and only 25.3% from deep, which is great. They're plus 4.9 on boards, largely due to the 7'1" center that I was just referring to. You look at the Red Storm on the other side, they're 2-6 last 8 on the road. The Red Storm, they're only shooting 21.8% from 3. So here's what I'm getting at, kind of with what I was worried about for A&M. If Creighton forces St. John's out, I don't know what the fuck they're going to be able to do.
Yeah, I hate this. I hate
if you move this team out on the perimeter, man,
St. John's is a clear public dog that I would love to fade. It's just that they're coming off such a bad performance in Madison Square Garden. And even though this is a real tough matchup, you have to think that, and they've been good on the road. I hate this. It's too bad. Too bad I can't fade the public dog here. Mike M. St. John's team total under 70.5. Not a bad look either. It sucks. This is a spot that I would love to fade the public dog, but I just fucking can't do it because I know that St. John's is so angry at that performance, that horrific performance that we expected from them in Madison Square Garden. They got to play better here. I expect them to play better.
Or did they just get up for UConn and they're not a good basketball team?
That's legitimate. But if you can win at UConn, then you're a decent basketball team.
Okay. Fair.
It's for me, it's all, you guys have seen what I've done in college basketball. It's all situational and it's all, trying to stick with the sharp action, not going against it. The sharp action is clearly on Creighton. Situationally, I expect the Red Storm to shoot much, much better than the horrific disappointment they had playing in the hollow grounds of Madison Square Garden. So I'm off this spot. Are you moving on to Daby?
I'm off.
All right, let's review all action and see if we want to have any additions. And it sucks. I'm sitting here with very low action. Maybe I should just take a look. Let's just take a look at the market on the taint play of the day. The taint play of the day is Georgia, Tennessee under 135.5.
And Jimmy, I was going to say something. I know that I'm somebody who sometimes could pick up my. I mean, hell, I had 5 bets yesterday, which for me was a lot. But you've been doing so well. Just stick with the process. And if something's telling you, no, then You've been killing it. Why? Don't change it. I know I'm not the one to be telling you that. You're the one who should be giving me advice. I'm just saying,
No,
shit, you're rolling, man. You don't got to force nothing.
yeah, no, it's been great. Everything that we're doing here is working, and I just want to stick to it. And now I'm sitting here with only 2 bets. So let's just take a look at the market for Georgia, Tennessee before we put a bow on this show here. So we have our guy Matty Ice on the under here for Georgia, Tennessee. Let's go over to the line history here for this one. We have the total opening up at 135. There's been no movement at Pinnacle. Interesting. No movement at all. Bet online, there's been a huge movement. So that's so important to look at. Bet online comes out at 2 o'clock. Pinnacle comes out at 5 o'clock. At 2 o'clock, this opened up at 132 and shot all the way up to 135. Now Pinnacle waited, saw the move. Now let's take a look at the cash flow for this one. We have 3,235 tickets in, 41% of the tickets and 93% of cash on the over. So sharp action on the over to bring it up to the number that Matty Ice says is too high. And that takes expert opinion to decipher that that's too high for him or it's too high for his model. And I'm not there. Did you look at that game at all, Georgia, Tennessee?
I didn't. I'm not gonna lie. No.
All right. Well, it's all good, man. These are a lot of work that you had today. Let's review all action. Daby Cab is on Houston first half -5 at -119. I'm going to be on the South Florida Bulls first half. Daby Cab going right up against the coin currency play of the day. Daby Cab on Wake Forest first half +1.5, full game +137. Coin currency play of the day is Pittsburgh -3. We stayed off Whiskey, Maryland, and Northwestern, Nebraska, and Mississippi State, Alabama. Then I'm on Texas A&M first half, and that concludes our action. T-Max says loving South Florida today. Mike M says he's on Albany +6.5 for some 5 p.m. degenerate action. Daby Cab, great work, my friend. Love capping with you here. I'll be capping with you on Tuesdays starting next week because I'll be back on the Low Shack and the Bag Show. So that will be fun. And keep going in the right direction. You've been cashing. You got very upset with your record, and since then you've been very strong. So let's get you into the black here after.
Well, have you added Low Shack yet?
I'm doing that. I'll have that ready for you on Tuesday.
I think I might be in the black if you add that. I'm not sure exactly though.
Okay, beautiful. Well, I will add that. Follow Daby Cab on Twitter at Daby Cab. And Daby, tell us a little bit about we're possibly doing this on Thursday night. We're going to nail down the exact date, but the infusion dinner that we're doing at Palooza.
Look, when you say to tell me, I can't even begin to explain it. It's gonna if anybody's ever seen the show Bong Appetit, where it starts with an appetizer and then it has, a full course meal and then it has a dessert. And when I say infused, I don't mean like there's some fucking can of butter that was thrown in it. I mean from top to bottom, full spectrum infusion from Delusional Eats, who make the best of the best product. It will be the absolute best meal and the best time because it will be all of us. So all I have to say is let's make sure we have our bets in before we eat, and then let's eat, and we're just gonna fucking love watching all our money that night.
Yeah, and it looks like we're deciding exactly where to have this experience, but
on how many people. So, and that's what we need to know because like we talked about it, the whole deal.
Yeah. So, and we are going to have, as like we did last year, Palooza, we are going to have some lists up so we can track who's coming to what, so everybody can be picked up at the airport and people can be looked after and taken care of as we did last year. Jose, I imagine that you're going to enjoy the Delusional Eats.
I mean, I'm fucking providing all the meat. I mean, are you kidding me?
Wait, hold on. Are you gonna bring the steaks that you owe everyone? Don't just say that if you're not, because
it's the whole thing.
Look, I wasn't gonna strong arm you for the steaks, but if you're saying you're gonna provide them, like we might be having a steak infused dinner.
I assumed that was the case. So we'll see. Anyone that owes me a steak, obviously, come on by. And I'll say this: I need numbers for the par 3 golf tournament. I am in constant communication with those motherfuckers. And we need numbers. I need numbers. I cannot emphasize this enough. 24 people as of now. It can go up higher. I only locked down 24 places as of now, so let me know. And of course, if you need to rent clubs, we can set that straight as well. And just a reminder for everyone, I've seen this question asked twice now. Palooza 2 officially March 24th through the 26th. Get here on that Thursday, the 23rd, so you can be here on the 24th for all the events. Par 3 Friday afternoon, leading up to a little poker tournament, most likely. Then Saturday, we've got the UFC. Sunday, and then maybe we have a little nightcap after. I've kept hinting on that. We'll see how that goes. And then Sunday, of course, Rotama racing as well. So definitely come on by March 24th to the 26th. And again, get here on the 23rd so you can be here for all the action on the 24th.
Everybody in the audience, now listen to me carefully, is being given a special package, and I don't want you to open it. Do not open it. Cameras are on you, so do not open until I tell you. All right, open your boxes. Open your boxes. 1, 2, 3.
You get a steak. 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 Everybody gets a steak.
We need to add Daby Cab's face into that video.
Daby Cab
and Devins and
yeah,
Nate's.
fucking everyone.
And
Only 3 people owe me a steak.
I'm one of them, sadly.
Yep. Peter Loshak.
Yeah.
And Wham.
Okay. This was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Now let's go out there and get that cash. Stay with me for the finale here, you guys. In NHL, Jose putting his 2023 record and his new money in the account to risk here on Canadian hockey teams. He's on the Senators at -120. I'm going to be on the opposite. I'm on the Islanders money line. Senators team total under 3. And Turnsy's play of the day is the Islanders. So going up against us there. Jose's on the Leafs at -155. I'm going up against him here as well. I'm going to be on the Rangers money line. So is Dennis Garcia. I'm thinking about the Stars still. I'm taking more time with that one. Jose is on the Oilers and the over 5.5 parlay. I've been sitting back wondering, could this get to 7? Could we get to a 7 here ever? Not yet. That 6.5 over 6.5 at -130 right now. And then Jose's on the Canucks at +153. He's got an Ottawa, Toronto, Edmonton, Vancouver parlay at +841. Rob Freeze on Magic first quarter, and I think I will join him on that. LJ's on Nick Claxton 3 or more blocks at -126. He's on Alperen Sengun over 36.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I'm going to be on the Rockets. He's going to be on the Bucks first quarter -2.5 at -110. He's on Minnesota. Oh, I am going to be on possibly Minnesota. Possibly. I've just done so bad with them. We know that BI is coming back for this. The LJ's on the Thunder first quarter +0.5 -106 and first half +102. He's on the first quarter over 16.5 in Memphis Golden State. Utah Portland, we stayed off. LJ's on the first half over 122 in Toronto Sacramento. I'm going to be on the under. LJ's on the Lakers first half -3.5 -115 and Davis back in action for that. AD back in action. And we've already reviewed all of our NCAA basketball. So that is our show for the day. Thank you guys so much for supporting us here. Saturated, Mike M, Jason Folk, Slow Jams Arsenal. We're going to roll with Slow Jams Arsenal at Pub Up Palooza. Lucky Lefty Ryan Mueller, TNT, the Dab Father, J Dub, Nasty Nate, Coin, T Mac, Daryl Lyle, Smith Legacy, DC Capper, Lucas Ryan, BJ, Joe Yurkovich play today is the Kings -3. Tori Coker. What a great group. Jojo Rich, Xavier Oliver. Thank you guys. Lee Davis, Jake Burns, Dana Delp, James S. Thank you guys so much for your support. We truly have nothing without you guys. It means the world that you support us, and we're building something special here. And if you want to be a part of it in person, you join us at Pub Up Palooza 2, March 24th to the 26th. I'm booking my flight today. So I'm in discussions. I'm definitely going to be there at least Thursday to Monday, but getting some.
I need DMs, Jimmy. I need DMs from. I know you and Jose are in on the dinner. I know my guy Nate's in. I need DMs because listen, if you don't tell me ahead of time about the dinner, you're not in. What we do is very calculated. This isn't going to be some thrown together bullshit. It's extremely calculated. So we need to know who's in. I need to know who's in. So we need to know where we're doing it also.
Exactly.
Yes. And same thing for me in the golf tournament as well, obviously.
And poker tournament we're going to be talking about here shortly as well.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. Great work from my producer, Jose Bouquet, the heartbeat of this show, the pulse of this show. Young Jose, one finger, two holes, Bouquet. Daby Cab, great work today. Let's get that cash. Can you please give us your final words and then leche us into the future?
My final words are, thank you guys in the chat. Let's fuck these bookies up today. I love you guys on screen. I love you guys in the chat. And leche, los motherfucking bookmakers, baby. Let's go. Let's go.